Greetings and salutations, everyone. Today we have several topics to talk about, me and V, but I think we're gonna sneak in one topic at the beginning here because it's the big one at the moment. I don't know how much you've looked into this, V, but banks are collapsing left, right, and center.
Yes, go woke, go broke, taken to another level.
If anything, I think actually this is the beginning of go woke, go broke fully coming into effect.
It's okay. I think like the government will come with a digital dollar to save us.
Well, actually, the government has already don't do that. The government has already stepped in here in that the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is the government's way of making sure that your money doesn't disappear too quickly, has already seized control over the Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah, well, they're too big to fail, right? Like if you have a business and it goes bankrupt, then that's on you. But if a bank goes bankrupt, they have a reset button.
To a certain degree, at least. Because this isn't the first time this has happened, of course. Bank crashes are a common occurrence in our modern day.
So apparently, Oprah stands to lose $590 million in that bank. Also, Harry and Meghan, which moved into ethical banking, and I will show you that that bank which collapsed was very ethical.
Oh,
Doesn't look good for
no.
them.
Not Harry and Meghan. Anybody but Harry and Meghan.
How will they cope? Apparently, they will not be able to afford paying for their security if this keeps going.
Oh no. They might have to be like regular people or something.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awful, V. My thoughts and prayers go out to the people who just want to be left alone.
So apparently, they had a very strong ESG within that bank. Let me see if I can find a little bit more info on them.
An exceedingly strong ESG. Like, they were in with
Yes.
all of the ESG companies.
Yes, they were specifically designed for people who wanted to protect the environment.
Yes, they actually kept a exclusive clientele. You weren't allowed to do banking with them unless you met certain moral and ethical standards.
Correct. And apparently, the reason they went bankrupt is because they had a run into the bank.
Yes, because a little bit of background here. The Silicon Valley Bank, as the name implies, was the bank of choice of the technocratic elites of Silicon Valley. But, well, after COVID, many of them were like, wow, COVID is great. We can earn so much money of all these people cooped up in their houses. But then, tragically, COVID ended, and a lot of people started losing a lot of money, and so they went into the bank to, fuel their cocaine addictions. And, bank wasn't ready for that. They literally didn't have enough money to pay everybody who had money in the bank. And, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, most people don't realize that banks actually operate on, I guess, like customer trust. Like you trust that they will give you your money when you ask for it, but in reality, banks literally do not have the money they loan. Well, actually, do not have the money that people loan to them. So what happens if everyone goes to the bank in order to get their money? Then the bank collapses.
Yes, because this isn't like the good old days where the bank actually had to have your money. Right now, the bank doesn't actually have your money. Like, they lend your money out before they even have it, and they give you money they don't even have either. It's all a ridiculous lending scheme.
Yes, and it's legal.
Yes, entirely legal.
Okay. So I found the I guess like the Twitter post where most of these values that they have are being shared. Here at Silicon Valley Bank, we start with empathy for others. We speak and act with integrity. We embrace diverse perspective. We take responsibility. We keep learning and improving. Yes. So this is a learning lesson for them, I guess.
Well, it's good to hear that they take responsibility, because there's a lot of billions of dollars outstanding. They had $290 billion in total, but, well, they've spent a lot more than that. That's the issue.
How much is for a bank 290 billion? I mean, are we talking a lot? Is it like a big bank, a
I mean,
medium bank?
90 billion bucks. That's change, definitely. It's quite a lot.
Hmm.
And you know
Look,
what? You know what's really funny? Because okay, there. You say that it's legal, right, to lend out money that they don't have, and it is. But there
yes.
is a minimum guarantee, which the government, stands by, saying like, okay, can you guess what that guarantee is?
I have no idea when it comes to large sums of money. Like after a while, they're just numbers to me.
Exactly, because that sum of money was huge when it was instituted. It's $250,000.
That's not that much.
No, it isn't. Especially when you're dealing with companies like Roblox was one of the companies, Vox Media, Etsy. Like these companies had
Aww.
billions and billions. Oh, there you go. Vox
were-
Media. Vox Media had $100 million invested.
Well, but they were investing ethically, Arch.
They were.
Like they were investing with a conscience. Yes.
Yes. And so, frankly, they should view this as one large charitable donation.
Look at this. Silicon Valley Bank engaging and empowering employees.
Thank God.
Building a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Championing inclusion in the innovation economy. Is this an innovation economy, Arch, where if the bank goes bankrupt, the government bails them out?
That is rather innovative, I would say, yes.
Supporting communities where we live and work. Advancing the transition. I love this word. Transition to a sustainable, low-carbon world.
Well,
practicing responsible corporate governance. This is literally Klaus Schwab's dream. Like this is what he comes at night. Like literally all of these.
You gotta understand. V, when we put tags in our videos, we're trying to tickle the Google pickle. Like, please find my video. That's the same thing here. They're putting in these things as little tags. Like, oh, please, Mr. ESG investor, money, please.
Yes. And the thing with ESG is that I mean it gets a lot more how should I say notoriety than it should. But basically, when banks invest into something, they try to run an assessment score, right? And it's very subjective on how you run it. But basically, they're looking at some parameters to see if your business is going to be able to pay them back or not. ESG is what they're running their risk assessment. But like ESG has absolutely nothing to do with whether a business is successful or not.
No. That's the thing, and that is why ESG is failing, because it doesn't actually guarantee a return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the ESG highlights here. So this is what the bank has been doing with all of their money. They've been getting rid of carbon in the atmosphere.
The American money, I wanted to say, because it's not really theirs.
That's true. Everybody else's money.
Yes. Go on.
They've got rid of carbon in the atmosphere. They've reduced GHG emissions. They've donated some money as well. That's very good,
Sustainable finance commitment. I wonder to whom they donated, though.
Oh, probably to their board members, I'd guess. I also like that one. $5 billion to sustainable finance commitment by 2027. I suspect that money isn't going to show up anytime soon.
Probably not. Or maybe it will after they're getting bailed out. Who knows?
Who knows? Marta Shame says, So does finish his Halo fan video posted on YouTube. I would post that link, but YouTube doesn't allow it in Super Chats. It does not. Well, you should definitely check that out then, chat. V Flat Desk Pepsi says, we need justice for Pigeon V8. V, did you eat the pigeon?
No.
Wrongfully accused. And Sir John says, have you seen the ECB tweet about equity? I have not.
I think it's in the link that I gave you. What does this mean, though? Employee resource groups fueling a culture of belonging. What the fuck is that?
I'm presuming that they mean that they need your money to make sure their employees belong.
How do the banks in my country function without giving money to ensure that the employees belong?
Well, they focus on making sure that your money doesn't disappear. Whereas Jay Ersapa here, she makes sure that you can be seen as a queer person of color and a first-generation immigrant from a working-class background. She's also LGBTQ, ERG.
Established 2020-2026 community benefits plan. Oh, look, the 5-year plan. I was wondering where that went.
Oh god, I do love this though. Like when you're going to the bank and you're looking for a financial advisor, you want to know about their sex life, don't you? Isn't that the first thing you ask them for? Like, hey,
yes,
who do you sleep
yes.
with?
How do you sleep with?
Like pee-pee, vagina, Give me a ballpark here.
How do you identify? What are your pronouns?
What's your skin color? Just looks her in the face. Maybe hint like,
yeah,
right?
No, they did manage to take Go Woke, Go Broke to the next level.
Yes, and the thing here is this is actually the second bank crash in like the last week, as there was also the Silvergate Bank. It was. Now, this was one of very few banks that actually actively did work with cryptocurrency companies and blockchain and such nonsense, because a lot of banks didn't want to get involved in that because of how ridiculously volatile it was. I mean, if you can't pay back the money in, regular legal tender, imagine Bitcoin, where the price varies by like 1,000% day to day.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, well, Bitcoin will save us. But, like, how would you pay workers in a currency that fluctuates from day to day?
Yeah. In fact, here's the exact point. Silvergate once managed, like the crypto industry, was once valued at $3 trillion. $3 trillion.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah. It's now worth about $1. So it's shed, like... It's shed 2/3 of its value. Like,
so
imagine.
My conspiracy.
Hey, go on.
It is. Yeah, my conspiracy theory is that the American fiscal system is not sustainable. Like almost any economist will tell you that they're running on way too much debt.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, instead of like waiting for the financial collapse, they're going to try to do like a controlled demolition, which is what this ESG bullshit is about. Like they will purposefully crash so that they can then say, oh, look, we can give you digital dollars instead, universal basic income, a currency that we can track you with. And it also expires within a month if you don't use it. It's the same system that the Chinese have. And people will be more likely to sign up to the digital dollar. In fact, like most of the legislation is in place for a digital euro, a digital pound, and a digital dollar.
And it's going to be hell when it does happen. But you are correct. Many societies are already at that point. Norway, for example, we don't use paper money anymore. Like, it's practically outdated. Like, if you go to the store and you pay in paper money, odds are they're not going to be able to give you change back without going, like, in the back office and fetching, like, a bag of fucking quarters or something stupid.
Yeah, I guess like this is one of the problems with the digital currency, because some countries like Romania, for example, would never be able to implement it simply because like you have people in the rural area in the mountains that don't even have electricity, let alone be able to do online banking.
Mm-hmm. Or up here, it's card payment. Like 100% is card payment.
Yeah, but you also have like countries like Greece, which also experienced a financial hurdle, and they just don't trust the banks. Yeah, they do not trust the banks. Like they immediately go to the ATM and withdraw their cash the moment they get paid.
Yes, and this is where the spiral comes in too. Because here's the thing: I might now recommend people who have less than the who have anywhere under the max insured, like check out the insured quantity of money in your bank, because it does vary, and if you have more than that, maybe don't. But when people start doing that, because there was a wonderful little tweet where people were like, oh, the bank collapse is fake, etc., everybody's lying, because if this was real, it'd be all over the news. Would it? What would happen, V? Tell me, please. What would happen if the news told everyone in America that the banks were collapsing and they might lose their money if they didn't take it out of the bank now?
You would have like the new financial crash of 2023.
Exactly. So I'm just saying there might be a very good reason why you're not seeing it on the news.
But it is on the news. I mean, they did talk about it. The question is like, how much do they want to talk about it? But like, it's just one bank at this. Well, actually, it's the second bank at this.
Two, yeah. But again,
yeah, but it's for different reasons. From my understanding, like this was incompetence and mismanagement. I mean, it's a little bit more technical to go into the financial details, but usually where you have wokeness, you have incompetent people as well, because they're not hired based on merit. Like they don't believe in merit. It's against the woke ideology. And as such, this is why, like, when video games are woke, you notice them that they're filled with bugs, that the story is incoherent, and they're talking not like human beings talk. It's because like the people they hire are incompetent.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm also saying that this is kind of the beginning of get woke, go broke is because of what this is going to affect. So moving on to the regular scheduled programming, quote unquote, Forspoken has admitted that it didn't sell well, which I'm sure came as a shock to everybody.
Do they have to admit the obvious? I mean, when your entire studio gets dismantled because your game is that bad, I don't think they need to come up and say, hey, you know what, it didn't really sell that well.
Reviews of Forspoken, which released on January 24th, 2023, have been challenging, said the then president of Square Enix shortly before being sacked.
You know, like the thing with reviews, like if a game is good, word of mouth would carry it, regardless what the reviewers say. I mean, look at Hogwarts, right? Mm-hmm. They tried making a boycott. They literally tried getting trolls to negatively review the game. And yet, because the game is above average, it's sold.
Yep.
Like, reviews just don't mean anything.
At the very least, they're not the be-all and end-all. Like, a good game will overcome bad reviews.
Yes.
But, like, this was a game that was created from woke out of a whole cloth. This was a Japanese company deciding, hey, the West is full of racists, right? We'll make a character and we'll just focus exclusively on her race. And they'll love it. Weirdly, we didn't, I guess. Odd.
The thing is, like, you can do that, but they made the character so goddamn unlikable that even VTubers were shitting on her. Iron Mouse had like a 5-minute segment just shitting on this character nonstop.
Mm-hmm. No, she was awful. Like, her voice acting was terrible, her lines were terrible, and again, it was clear it was Japanese people trying to get to grips with what they thought was like European Western culture. Like, they named her stupid sentient bracelet Cuffs.
I am still baffled by the fact that Japanese made this. This is the first time I heard it. I trust you, but like, really?
Oh yeah, Square Enix.
Are you sure they were Japanese? I mean, I know the company is Japanese, but like the people who wrote the script?
Well, who exactly did the writing, I don't know, but yeah, no, this appears to have been a Japanese product.
Because you see, I'm a little bit racist thinking that Japanese people cannot write bad scripts. Like, you can sue me on this, but it's true. Like, I don't think like a Japanese person is capable at writing something bad.
Oh, they can. You should look into some like Japanese B movies and stuff like that.
Oh.
A lot of it's
like,
very
this
bad.
is an isekai. Like, this is an isekai. How can they fuck up an isekai?
Well, exactly. Like, all you'd need to do... Okay, say you want to do the black character. Fine. Just take a modern black character, put her in a fantasy world, and give her magical powers and have her be OP. People would love it. But no.
Well, at least don't get her to move shit with her mind.
Oh, God. V's flat desk Pepsis. Yes, also tell V to go to sleep. He can't. He's on the clock right now.
Anyway, did you know that the Disney CEO, Mr. Bob, has said that there's going to be fewer Marvel sequels in the future?
Well, this leads us on to the next thing, doesn't it? Because, right, these companies, go away, they've been spending infinite cash for a very long time. Because a part of the reasons why the banks were so vulnerable to collapsing is because there has been so much money around. Like, money existed, like, it grew on trees for years now. There were zero interest rates. You could borrow as much money as you wanted. The government would just fucking print it by the just boatload, okay? Money was so easy to come by. And that meant that studios like Marvel could also make an assload of movies as well. But Bob Iger, for all of his detractors, he did absolutely, at the very least, partake in the bringing on of woke to Disney. He seems like a savvy businessman, and I suspect maybe he sees where this is going.
I mean, a lot of people keep blaming him for bringing the wokeness into the company, which I guess he did, but like, can you blame him for knowing at the time? You know, because like the woke were very insidious. They were like, oh, well, we just want tolerance, we just want acceptance, we just want equality, right? So like when you come up with that, he may have been, it's like, okay, well, maybe a little bit doesn't hurt. I mean, it's like, who cares? But then it got progressively worse, right? And it wasn't under his watch that it happened.
You know, because Iger was the guy who picked up Marvel when they were nothing. Like, he created the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he was an enormous success. I think he's a fairly savvy businessman. Because now he's also talking about how they'll be far more selective about Star Wars movies as well, because of Solo, and I think a couple other ones too.
I mean, to have Disney from the juggernaut that it used to be, where it was literally buying up all the competition to the point where I was thinking like, okay, so every entertainment is just going to be Disney now. And you get them from that place to the place where they're now, and they're talking about licensing some of their products to third-party streaming services. Like, that would have been unthinkable years ago.
Yeah, no, crazy. Like, Disney was the biggest country, literally, in America for a little while there. But again, there's the many blows that they have taken, and most of them can be traced right back to wokeness. And we'll have to see if Iger recognizes that. But losing their special tax status in Florida, big deal, and 100% due to wokeness.
Yes, Buzz Lightyear, because of that gay kiss, it actually got banned in over 10 countries. Like, and you cannot say that it did not affect the sales.
And not only did it get it banned, it screwed it over everywhere else too. Because, fuck, when you and I were younger, V, you know, when there was a movie banned in Saudi Arabia, that wasn't a bad thing. That was like, oh, Saudi Arabia, well, they're assholes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember if movies, like, if I knew what movies were banned in Saudi Arabia, but if I were to find out, I would be like, oh, well, that's a base movie. I guess I gotta see it.
Yeah, but now you're like, okay, why is it banned in Saudi Arabia? Well, LGBTQ stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they're probably right.
Yeah, it's not even related to the plot. It's like they just put it there, and it's like, okay, well, you asked for it. You know, I'm not into rape culture, but like when you do that stuff, like there was a director from The Last of Us, and he literally said that he put it there the same way a mother puts the carrots in the brownies. Like, he knows that the public doesn't want it, but he did it to lecture the audience. And that's what really upsets me. It's not the LGBT issue, it's the mentality behind it. It's like, I am going to treat you like a child because you don't know better.
And it's also because at the time there was that leak from the Disney executive lady who literally said she was just pushing the gay in everywhere she could. That was why, because the whole gay kiss in Buzz Lightyear, I didn't mind. It was just like a moment there, a kiss between two people, they had a family, etc. Fine. But when I know it was put there specifically for an agenda, you gotta raise an eyebrow.
It is the same like it used to be during the Bush era. Like, I noticed that everything had a Christian spin to it, and I started finding it a little bit cringe. Like, if you watch Smallville, for example, right? It was Superman growing up. Man, it had like so many Christian messages in it. And after a while, it was just getting a little bit cringe. And it's not because like the messages were bad or anything, but they were just like so many and so obnoxious.
Too much of it.
Yeah, like literally anything, you know, like too much of a good thing is an expression.
Absolutely. Marked Ashamed says, well, I calculus a 10% fractal reserve is an infinite integral where it was 50/05 would be integral. Wouldn't be. No, would be. Okay, so Mark James using complicated language here. So fractional reserve banking, essentially, is how they were supposed to do it and how it's supposed to be okay, right? Where if you put X amount of money in the bank would use like half of it, roundabout, or a portion of it, to lend. So that the bank would always have enough money to give you back whatever you were likely to need at any given time, whilst also lending out a portion of it. That, in essence, meant that in total there was actually more money in, circulation than in if the bank just sat on that $1,000. That is the ideal banking, because banking is actually a good thing because it does introduce more, free-flowing currency into the system. The problem is when you have the 100% and you lend out 150%, issues occur.
You need to hope that people aren't going to come to your bank and demand their money, because you may have problems.
You got to make the bet that you won't be asked to actually give them their money back.
Well, yeah, but like usually, I think it was in France, like the yellow vests, they wanted to do a run into the bank, and the government stepped in and said, like, nope, you're not allowed to take more than this.
Mm-hmm. And that's to prevent a run on the banks too.
Yeah. In Greece, that happened as well. Like people were staying in line at ATMs because you couldn't withdraw more than, I think it was like 100 euro equivalent per day. So like people had to go to the ATMs and stay in line.
Yep. Because if you didn't, well, you didn't even get that.
Yeah, like when I went to do the down payment for my house, I actually went with the bricks of cash, like, and they looked at me like I'm some sort of savage.
Yeah,
right? And I spoke with the. No, but I spoke with the lady at the table, and I was like, what is the advantage of having this in the bank? And she couldn't give me any. And I was like, okay, so not only that, like I don't even get an added bonus, right? I don't get, what do you call it? Interest. I have negative interest because I need to pay for like the security in the account. I need to pay for various commissions. Why should I keep it in the bank?
See, that is one of the few benefits of the Norwegian bank system, at least, in that most of our banks are fairly standalone, so we do actually get some good interests out of it. I'm getting 4.05 interest in my bank at the moment, and the only charge is if I have to take out, like, I think it's 50% of it before 30%, before like 3 months or something. Dumb rules.
If I were to get like 4% interest, I would keep my money in the bank.
Umbriti also says, in other news, Oprah stands to lose $590 million after collapse of SVB. Couldn't happen to a better person. Yes, so this one too this is a little bit of a rumor thing here, but everyone's favorite fat giver of free things might be standing to lose some money, including, as you mentioned, V, Meghan Markle and her husband, the royal cuckold.
How is it like when you're a multimillionaire and you lose like a couple of millions? Like, do you even care? I mean, does it affect your lifestyle anyway?
Well, I don't know.
It's like if you got like 50 million, right, and you lose like 5 and you got 50 million in the bank, like, do you really care?
Well, it's also the fact that these people live on a very different, how do I put it, expenditure than you and I.
Expenditure, yes.
Yeah, you and I would be like, oh, I've got $1 million. Well, I can live quite happily off that for many, many years. Whereas these people are like, my God, what do I do now? Like, my $2 million car or my $15 million boat. I can't even afford to put fuel on my second jet anymore.
Yeah, no, like legit question. Because like these people have such different lifestyles than you and I that I can't even comprehend how it's like. So like, if you get, how much does Meghan have? Like probably with her husband, like hundreds of millions, right? And you find out, oh look, you lost 25. Like, how does that affect your life? Like, well, legit question.
I mean, have you seen the house? I think they're living in some kind of estate in America, and it's the size of a forest.
Yeah.
I mean, just heating that thing must be expensive as hell.
Probably, but again, like if you have hundreds of millions in the bank, and like take into account that money makes money, so it's not really that they're on a minus, right? Like, They, like, for example, when he sells his book, he just makes another million.
That's true. Like they do have, when you have money, it is easier to earn money again.
Yeah.
So
So I'm really.
Meghan is apparently worth $60 million.
Really? That cheap?
According to this thing I found just real quick right here, $60 million value estimated.
I mean, well, I'm curious how much Hari is worth, right? Because like he's the
Not
royal.
much
Well, I mean, they're both.
more. He's estimated about 60 million too.
Oh, really? So like both of them are 120. That's interesting.
Bearing in mind that Harry doesn't really have access to the family account anymore, shall we say?
Family. You know, I'm really curious, like, if he actually ends up being broke, if the family is going to take pity on him.
Well, they see. You mentioned they can make money, right, because of their names. Because Spotify paid them, or was it like 18, $20 million or something?
Yeah.
Netflix also had a deal with them, which was worth 100 million, like more. But they've already fucked up the Netflix one because they didn't deliver, and I think they delivered like 2 or 3 podcasts to Spotify, so I think they cancelled 2. Like, they're so lazy, they've actually deprived themselves of north of $100 million.
Yeah, and this is why they are furious with South Park, because their whole thing is their name. Like they don't know anything else, right? Like, they don't have a skill. Like, you're not going to see Hari being a truck driver or making money in an honest days of work, like the left likes to say it. So their name is literally the only thing they have, and they're damaging their own reputation. And now South Park is putting the nail in the coffin.
Yep. You don't come back from South Park mocking you. And I also
No,
want to make a comment here on the difference in lifestyle we talked about, right? I put it in the link channel. This is a woman who buys an enormous fucking sofa cushion for her dog, while she herself sits at a massive marble table in front of an oven place that looks to be roughly the size of the average California flat.
Look, if you make $50 million, like if you have $50 million on your name, you gotta respect yourself.
Well, true, but that's the thing. She has $60 million in net value. She's not earning any of that. That's money that's there right now.
Mm-hmm.
How long's that going to last?
Well,
if you're spending,
how much they lose with the bank? Like, that's interesting to find out.
Well, yeah. So Oprah was set to lose like several hundred million, but Oprah is also literally money. Like she's built out of money.
She's probably richer than them. Yeah.
Oh, by quite a margin. Like I remember. Do you remember the interview they did with Oprah? That was kind of great because it was basically a billionaire interviewing 2 millionaire royalties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Oprah is far more marginalized than them.
Yes, she is.
Man, I want to be marginalized like Oprah.
I would like to be marginalized too.
Yeah, it's not cool to be on the center. Like, the margin is where you want to be now.
Adherent of Lady Columbia says... Oh, stop screwing YouTube. Because capital is becoming more scarce, we'll see things like crypto, EV, and experimental tech fall apart because no easy flow of interest cash. That lends itself very easy to our current discussion. Because, yeah, again, money was so easy to come by for so long. It was to the point where, crypto became an investment. People spend money on bitcoins and it gave ridiculous returns. Like, it created millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, but I predicted this would happen. Like any type of economy that's driven by an ideology through the course of human history ended up failing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is why silver and gold is sacred. Like, throughout human history, silver and gold always have value. Same with property.
Yep, absolutely. But it was... God, it is literally a collapse brought about by ideology. Because... we had great entertainment that everybody loved and everybody watched. Oh, it could grow stale at times, sure. Like, we could get sick of too many action movies, or too many, like, sci-fi movies, or too many, like, superhero movies, sure. But at least they were more like getting sick of the genre, because it was overdone.
Yeah. But now it's not even that. Like there's no original stuff anymore. Everything is a sequel, a prequel, or a spin-off, or a reboot, a reimagining. Like I looked at the movies that came out last year, almost nothing original. And if
Yeah.
you look at 2016, there's a lot of original movies.
And the worst part of it too is like they're reimaginings as well, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja things. Like, oh, I reimagined April O'Neil as a fat black woman. Like, oh, great.
It's not even that. It's not even that. It's just like they're removing any beautiful aesthetics from the feminine form. And this is like throughout Western media, right? Like they're like, okay, well, what makes a woman good? And they study the market. It's like, what do men want on average? Well, men like the hourglass figure. They like big boobies, and they're like, okay, well, let's remove all of that. Like, let's make sure we do not show that at all.
Yep. The future is fat black women. And I want to point out too, we know we're heading back towards quote unquote our side because we have regressed to like 2016. Like this article I put in the link channel on Daily Dot, its entire argument is basically if you don't like black April O'Neil, you racist, yo. Like
Yes.
it's not even trying to do the cutting edge like anymore. Like, oh, it's empowering, or no, she was always black or anything like that. We've returned to you're racist.
Yeah, like back in the day, in order to be a racist, you had to set fire to a cross in someone's backyard. Like it took money and time in order to be a racist, but now it's so easy. You just don't like a character in a cartoon, and it's like, oh, there you go.
Yep. I also like the arguments that April O'Neil was totally black in the original and shows two pictures of a obvious white woman. I'm like, well, her hair, it has curls in it. That means black, right?
I mean, the same people complaining about this are the same ones that complain that Jasmine from Aladdin wasn't of Agrabah descent because she was half English. They complained that the mentor of Doctor Strange in Marvel was white, even though she was supposed to be Tibetan. And they also complained that Ghost in the Shell was played by a white woman, right? So it is one way. It's
Of
like
course.
we know what happens if the thing is reversed. Like we have seen it, and they're actually more vocal and more pissed off and more whiny than people who are mocking April O'Neil being black.
Yes. And just for clarity as well, no, she was white in the comic as well.
Yeah, but even if she was black, it's the most people that I can see, they're pointing out how ugly the character design is. And by the way, if you are to make right now a Superman movie where Superman is blonde, right, and people are complaining and they're like, well, why is Superman blonde? Because Superman, he's black, like he's got black hair. Is that because you hate blonde people, or is it because like Superman is a brand and you have like your vision of the brand and you want people to be faithful to that?
Well, it's a lot of it does have to do with the brand as an identifiable thing, because that's kind of how they view it, right? It's not necessarily the character. It is about what the character could represent and the power that it could give you as well. Like if they could claim Superman to be progressive, they would do so.
Oh, they already did. Like they removed the Truth, Justice, and the American Way. It's I believe like for a brighter tomorrow or something like that. Like they have a new motto. So
They did give up on that.
yeah. But like this actually happened with Devil May Cry. Now that I think about it, like they changed the hairstyle of the character, and the fans absolutely hated it. Like any small change is going to get the fans to hate it. It's not like racial or anything like that. It's just like it's a brand, and if you're going to change it, you need to have a really good reason to do so.
Yeah, and it's not that they hate change in and of itself. It's that they hate bad change or change for change's sake. Because there is a way to
Yeah.
evolve a thing. Like, take Superman Injustice, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a major change to the character, obviously. He turned into a full-on goddamn tyrannical overlord. But it was very well done, and everybody loved the hell out of it.
Yeah, or Batman of the future, right? Like Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond was
It's
great.
yeah, and it's a natural progression of the thing, right? So you don't really like change it for the change sake, because now it's like, oh well, Bruce is this old man, he can't fight, right? Like, but they're not mocking the character. Like, he still has a purpose. He's like very wise. He is a mentor, and that's really great. You know, like Batman Beyond could have been a woman. Like, instead of Terry McGinnis, you could have had a woman doing that, and people would probably still like it because like they treat the character of Batman with respect.
I don't think I would mind. Like, so long as it's kind of the same character. Because one of the things I liked is that Teddy McGuinness is a very different Batman than Bruce is.
Yeah. There's even like how he defeats the Joker by talking. I really love that.
Yep, because again, that was like him pointing out, like, I am actually a very different Batman. Like, Batman Beyond is good.
Yeah, it's a shame that it got canceled. Like, you know, that's how you actually do change, right? Like, you can move the IP forward and you can keep the fans.
Yes. Iterative change is good. Change that adds something rather than subtracts something. Whereas Fat April O'Neil only subtracts. Like, there is no universe in which being fat and nearsighted and I do hate dreads. And with dreads, I'll have that in for personal preference, makes a character better.
You know, this is the second time they did it, because like they already had like another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles which failed. It was so spectacular that many people probably never even heard of it. But they give April, so April is also black, of course. And they give her like this magical baseball bat, and I'm thinking like, okay, so what you're saying is that the only way that she can be valuable is if she fights next to the turtles. Like, if she's next to Leonardo, like she can't just be the average girl that's trapped in a fantastic situation so the audience can relate with her. No, like she actually used to get there and beat Shredder in the head with a baseball bat.
Yes, and the stupid part there is too, how does she do that? With a magical baseball bat created from, I don't know, the green power ring, I guess?
I have not watched that. Look, I can stay disinterested longer than they can stay solvent.
Like, she was given a ring, and she became a Green Lantern, and now she's fighting alongside the Turtles. Great.
Was that like a thing? Because again, like, are you making it up, or is that the real story? Let me show you. April O'Neil bat, because it does look like a.
Yes, I've already found it. I've got it on screen. It does literally look like a construct from Green Lantern.
I guess like the flames, the ghost things. It's called Mystic Baseball Bats. Have the appearance of normal baseball bat that anybody can use, but when activated, the baseball bats can glow to different colors depending on what type of mystic power it was created with.
Ah, mystic powers, of course. I guess it's kind of a shout out to oh god, what was the other guy? The human that the turtles fought alongside.
Cassie Cage.
Cassie Cage. Yes, thank you.
And he had a golf club.
Yeah, because didn't he also use a hockey club at some point too?
I don't know, but like the thing with the Ninja Turtles is that it comes out during the crime wave that the United States also had back in the day when they were trying to push this bullshit with sensitivity training on police officers. And you had like criminals just, you know, walking into the store, stealing shit, not giving a fuck. Police wouldn't do anything because they would be like, well, if we stop them, we may end up on the news. But if we do nothing, then we still get paid. So like you have the American people really fed up with crime, and that's when the Ninja Turtles come, right? Like that's the whole shtick. It's like there's crime, police don't do anything, but look, these Ninja Turtles are trying to take the law into their own hands to protect the public. And you can do that now, you know? Like you can literally just adapt that to the modern audience, but they will never do it. I mean, the Foot Clan could literally have, like, instead of the Black Fist, they could just have the Black Foot. They parade around, you know, protesting cops or whatever. And April O'Neil could just be a reporter that is sick and tired of how the mainstream media is handling things by calling them mostly peaceful riots.
Make her like a social media reporter.
Yeah. She's getting banned on YouTube.
See, that would actually be kind of cool.
I know. But, like, they will never do that. If you guys want cool movies, like, watch stuff from the 80s. Like, it fits so well today. So, you got RoboCop 1 and 2. You got Demolition Man. You got Dirty Harry. There's a lot of old movies that, like, do very well cultural commentary for today.
Demolition Man, yep. Absolutely.
So, did you hear about Michael Jackson? Apparently, his nephew is thanking Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock.
No. What happened there?
So, apparently, Taj Jackson is his name. And he tweeted that Chris Rock has used my family as a punching bag for his entire career. Yet I am supposed to feel bad for him getting slapped and humiliated at the Oscars. After seeing a new clip of him attacking my dead uncle in the first minutes of his Retaliation I'm Still Relevant special, I have 3 things to say. Number 1, what did my father ever do to you to warrant these decades of harassment that you are using as jokes? Number 2, just because you were bullied early on in life doesn't give you the right to bully others. And number 3, thank you, Will Smith.
Well, we've come full circle. It's a good thing it happened now.
Like, it's not even a slap. It was a miss. I think Chris's armor managed to block all of the damage because like he got slapped in the suit.
Didn't he get him in the face though? I thought he got. It's been a while since I saw that.
No, it was like most on the shoulder. Like if you look at the picture, it's deceptively edited. But I looked at the actual slow motion, and it seems he the suit. Yeah. And apparently it's the only time that I have seen a man hit another man, and the man that actually landed the blow was starting to cry.
That is true. Rock did take it like a man. I'll gotta say that.
And apparently now Hollywood is having like a crisis team.
Yes, the standby guards at the Oscars in case another angry black man decides to intervene.
Do they have security? I mean, like, what is a crisis team? And what they said is like, we are preparing for the things we don't know. It's like, how do you do that?
Well, they did have security, but remember, when it happened, they talked to one of the security guards afterwards, and he was like, well, I mean, we thought it was part of the show. Which, to be fair, so did I. It's like, yeah, no, that didn't just happen. Come on.
Yeah, I thought as well. But like, granted, that actually made people watch the Oscars.
Oh yeah, it was a brilliant stunt.
It was. I mean, not for Will Smith.
No, his career took a little bit of a beating after that. Just a little bit.
Did he recover though? Like, is he starring in any movies now?
Yes. He played Lincoln.
Well, like Abraham?
Pretty much.
You know, it's 2023. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it was the movie was called Emancipation, and he basically plays Abraham Lincoln. Yes.
Dude, no, fuck, no. I'm googling it. This is not no.
Because it's what we would call Oscar bait, where it's all shot in black and white. It's very like, oh my god, artistic. Where he's a runaway slave, and he literally looks like Lincoln. Here, let me find
I found it. No. All right, but like he's not the president.
No,
right?
no, yeah. He just looks exactly like him.
Yeah, no, but like I was thinking that it's 2023, so why wouldn't he be the president?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't be the president.
It should definitely be the president. Oh, look at this. Oh my fucking god.
Abe. There you go, yes. I don't know if the movie did very well. It came out, and then he did a little thing where he was like, oh, I understand if, you can't forgive me for being an angry black man, but you should totally watch my movie anyways. Let me see. Can I find
I think that he got punished by the elites for that, but like the general public probably doesn't give a fuck. I mean, it was entertaining, if anything.
IMDb rating of 6.1, so it didn't do very well.
I need to look at Rotten Tomatoes because you got the audience score, which is more important.
Yeah, IMDb is misleading on occasion.
Abraham Lincoln, vampire hunter. Is this a thing?
Yes, that is the thing, and it's much better than Emancipation. Ooh, 46% critic review, 55% audience. Even worse. Yeah, this looks like a stinker, my boy.
Well, I guess like he probably just took whatever role was available. Because like take into account that most people wouldn't hire him after the slap.
It's like I'm just looking at the movie poster and like the little preview thing, and I'm just thinking, yeah, this is gonna be one of those movies that's gonna be half torture porn, where just the dude's gonna go through something absolutely awful, and you're, oh my god, feel bad for the poor person, and then at the end he'll be like, ah, I learned a lesson out of this, and you're supposed to hate the slavers, which is like, okay, this is
Wasn't
this is a
Django
meta.
Unchained?
Django
Isn't
Unchained?
isn't the plot of Django Unchained the one that you described now?
Kinda.
Mm.
The problem is, most of us already know that slavery was bad.
Really?
It's like,
I mean,
apparently-
you still have no, because you still have socialists every now and then coming up and saying, "I don't want to work. I like working 8 hours a day is inhumane. Humans weren't built for that."
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so you want slaves? I mean, you want to travel around the world, right? You want to have like a pilot fly your ass all the way to Europe. You want the staff at the hotel to cater for you, but you don't want to work, so you want other people to work for you. Like that's literally how things were run during the medieval time for royalty. So you do want slavery.
I mean, selective slavery I'm all for, so long as we enslave those people.
Socialist. No, like seriously, every single day on TikTok. I'm not kidding. Like, do you watch TikTok?
No. Why would I watch TikTok? I don't want the Chinese to know where I am.
Well, yeah, but you make shorts. Anyway, right. So, like, every single fucking day, like, you get a new soy face, a new person that looks like they escaped from Auschwitz, like, really thin, just meat and bones, and talking about how, oh my god, like, capitalism is making me work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. Meh, meh, meh. I shouldn't do that. I want to spend time doing things that I like flying around the world. Yeah.
Well, you can do that. You just need to be really good at it, and then you can do it on TikTok and earn money.
That is true. Like there are a couple of people that do live streaming by going to places and just doing footage of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely doable. But you got to put in the effort.
Well, if they would put in the effort, they wouldn't be left leaning.
Nathan Hildeman asks, where Kib? Whose cheeks do I demand now? You can demand these cheeks if you want. Kyle has resigned because he needs to spend more time streaming. His words, not mine.
Let me show you something beautiful. So this is an initiative from the European Central Bank. And I think that since Russians cut off the gas, they are suffering from frost because they're hugging themselves.
Equality is no longer enough. Oh. Oh my,
Yes.
No, you don't know. That's just really? You weren't just asking for equality this whole time after all? Well, I'm shocked, V. I don't know what to say.
Oh yeah, let me show you something. Hold on. There is a particular lady in one of those footages. Now, you know there is a test for people to find out if they can have empathy. They will show you like human faces, and you need to describe the emotion that a person is experiencing. Show this to the chat and ask them like, what emotion is that lady experiencing?
Let's see.
I think like she's trying to say, make us whole, Isaac.
See, there you go. Yeah.
She's literally, you know, if what's his name, that actor, fuck, I forgot his name.
See,
the one that shot someone.
No, like I don't know if this is. I think this is like, this is criminal disbelief. Like after you've committed a horrible crime, like there's a body lying bleeding on the floor in front of you, and you can kind of hear the sirens. You just have that like, wow. Now what?
No, I think like that's the face that I would make if Alec Baldwin was taking the shot.
Just looks inhumane.
Yeah, there's another interesting aspect of it. Everyone has like a watch that's more expensive than my entire house. But if you go to second six, right? If you can go to 006, there is a lady that wears two watches. Like she's min maxing. She's going for all of the stats there.
I mean,
Who the fuck wears two watches?
I do love how all of these people are wearing a massive expensive. Yeah, there you go. No, I think one of them is one of those pulse watches.
No, I know what it is, but like if you wear that, you don't wear the other watch.
Well, one is for telling you how many fucking steps you took in a day, and the other one is telling you the time.
No, they both tell you the time, and I bet like she even has like a cell phone which tells her the time as well. Like she's like a Russian that is invading Romania during World War II and is collecting watches as trophies.
I was going to point out, okay, these are like probably head retards at the European Central Bank. They probably have henchmen that tell them the time for them.
No, it's to display wealth, right? Like that's the whole thing. Like they want you to know how wealthy they are, but at the same time they want you to know that there is solidarity with the peasantry.
Yep.
And not a single transgender woman, I would point out. I guess like that's for next year, right? Like you want the apparatchiks to still get paid next year.
Ooh.
Also, not a single person of color either. Like, isn't this in Germany? Like, what did they do to the minorities there? Like, did they manage to get rid of them? Because like, not a single minority in this entire 42 seconds clip.
This one's doing the mummy face.
Oh my fucking god! Go to 011.
Yeah, I saw her. Like, that's
like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, kind of like.
This is a woman who can remember serving in the SS, and she's kind of scared she'll be found out. It's like, God, I hope they don't know.
It's kind of like if you have like a person from another dimension coming on Earth, and she's told to smile, and it's like, smile? What is that? It's like, look, like what those people over there are doing, and she's trying to like replicate what she saw.
I also... Oh, Jesus, that face. 021. Now, granted, this one isn't the weird expression. It's just a fish that has come up on land and tries to breathe for the first time.
The whole thing is like, support our cause. Do the pose. Do the pose. You support us, right? Do the pose. Do the thing.
I also do want to point out, equality is no longer enough. Like, we have known this was the agenda forever, but it is brazen still, isn't it? To just go like, oh yeah, no, we actually are supremacists, you know? We want more things than you.
Yeah. But like, what's interesting is that I am on the, I don't know, ridiculous belief, the brainlet take that men and women are there to complete each other and like create families. And they're not like separate tribes that are struggling for resources. I do believe in equality under the law, but again, like I think men and women are different in order to complete each other. So like when you hurt men, you're also hurting women, right? Like you're hurting their sons, you're hurting their husbands, you're hurting their fathers. Like you're not just like when you create opportunities for someone, you're talking about wealth redistribution. So it means you're taking away from other people.
Yeah, but so long as you're giving to the right people.
But like, imagine if you're a woman, right, which is, I guess, has a son, right, and you have a job, but now you notice that your son is unable to get any because like the opportunities are being taken away from him, and you're now stuck with the son for like until he's like 30 or 35. You have to take care of him. It's like, is that really what women want?
Well, V, there's a solution to that.
Nani Archcon.
It's a solution to that. In fact, that's kind of the next topic here, because, well, there's a certain filmmaker who's only in the business because his mother was in the business. So the solution to your problem, V, is nepotism.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, if my son can have a job, just not other people's son.
So we're talking about Mr. Seth Rogen, right? Like the Pulitzer winner.
Yes, I do like him. It's like, if critics knew how much their words hurt us, they would second guess. No. If anything, clearly I'm not hurting you enough, Seth, because you're still here.
Didn't he make like that horrible Christmas story, like the worst Christmas movie in human history? Wasn't he the one?
Seth Rogen has done many horrible things in his life. One of his latest crime is the Teenage Mutant Ninjas show. He is the originator of Fat Black April O'Neil.
No, but I'm curious, like, if he made the elf. So, like, all Christmas movies, like, it's very simple to make them. Like, you just make a wholesome story, you know, like, someone has a bad, miserable life, but then, like, Christmas turns it around and it's happy, right? There is someone, I think it's Seth Rogen, I'm not sure, but, like, they made, like, the worst, most horrible Christmas movie ever. Like, the most cynical, disgusting, awful. I think it, like, got, like, 2.1 or Rotten Tomatoes. Where basically, like,
2.1.
yeah, it was like an elf that was a woman, and she was complaining that Santa is a cisgender patriarchal man, and like he's taking the spotlight away from the elves.
Oh god, that one. I don't even remember
Yes,
its name.
but I think it was Seth Rogen. That's why I'm saying. I may be wrong though.
I don't, because I remember that TV series was a massive meme for like 12 seconds.
It was more than 12 seconds. Like the entire internet was laughing about it.
It was absolutely awful.
It's like literally how not to make a Christmas movie, the movie.
I think you're right too. Holy shit. Like, what the hell was the name of that awful, awful thing?
Santa Inc.
That's right.
And it was him. It was Seth Rogen. Fuck, I knew it.
Yes, no, Santa Inc. was just awful. Like, it took everything good about Christmas and then just be like, haha, that's terrible, isn't it? Like, you don't want Christmas, would you? That's awful.
And the marketing as well. Like Seth Rogen came up and well, like, I'm Jewish, and people are attacking my movie because I'm Jewish. And I'm like, well, first of all, if you're Jewish, why are you making a movie about Christianity? Right? Like cultural appropriation much? But secondly, it's like, no, it's not the fact that you're Jewish that's the issue. It's the fact that your movie is a brainless take on what Christmas is about.
The issue is you're very bad at what you do.
ADL has entered the chat before saying.
I also did like his explanation in the Bounding into Comic articles. He's like, I'm in my life now where nobody can tell me what to do in professional Hollywood. I'm like, yeah, that's because they're afraid of your fucking mother.
Who is his mother?
On the internet yell at him.
That is a good point. But like, who is his mother?
Seth Rogen. No? Think about the origins there.
Well, I mean, I don't care about her name. I care about like what title does she have that people are afraid of her.
They were, I believe they were like Russian immigrants in the olden days. They set themselves up to have quite a bit of money.
I mean, the thing is, if you look at Hollywood, they don't punch at Hollywood, right? Like they don't criticize each other anymore. It's very, I mean, they have the hive mind mentality, right? Like they say the things that need to be said. So I'm not surprised that he's not being criticized because like no one in Hollywood criticizes someone else in Hollywood.
Oh, of course.
And it is the nepotism, as you said.
That would be criticizing the group.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's just like I guess like there's no money to be made because like if you're in Hollywood, you can get a job from another person in Hollywood, so you don't want to upset. It's kind of like the Catholic Church, you know, like they don't criticize each other.
It's also because it is. If you begin making waves inside of Hollywood, I'm thinking you probably aren't going to get a whole lot of job offers. It's a very insular business with very few jobs.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying, right? Like, 'cause, like the only place you can get jobs is from a few people that also work in Hollywood. So if you start raising a stinker and you start criticizing people, then you're a problem, right? You're toxic. So they're not going to hire you, which is why like you have this hive mind going around in Hollywood.
You'll create issues, and you don't want that.
Speaking of movies, let me show you something very interesting. I think you can play this because it's a commercial, but it's being criticized on the internet because it's a commercial for being part of the riot police. They decided in their infinite wisdom to show how they beat the living shit out of civilians.
As Australian Army released a chilling recruitment ad showing soldiers attacking civilians rather than foreign enemies.
So they're attacking LARPers, but there is a point in the commercial that it's absolutely beautiful, where they unleash the hounds. Like, they unleash the dogs on the civilians.
It's an aggressive little woofer right there.
Like, so, like, what is the commercial trying to tell you? You know, join the riot squad, and you too can unleash the dogs on board.
The thing is, I wouldn't expect the riot police to engage foreign combatants either. Like, that'd be weird, and probably ineffective, honestly.
You know, that's a good point, because I looked at it as well. It's like, okay, but like, how do other countries advertise the riot police? And then I see the UK, and it had like 2 black women just running around and doing jogging and exercising and saying, I will defend my community. I will join the riot squad, blah, blah, blah. And that was like how the British advertise it. But meanwhile, you have the Australian army. Like, all right, get into Spartan formation. Bring the dogs.
Well, there was way worse than that. Do you remember the posters that went around a few years ago? These here, the one that asked for snowflakes and their compassion to come join the army.
Oh yes. But like, I guess like that's the other swing of the pendulum. It's like pushing the pendulum to the opposite way. It didn't load, but I know what you're talking about. And what I do know is that one of the soldiers from those posters actually sued the fucking military because they used this picture at Snowflake without his permission.
To be fair, that's rather derogatory.
It was this guy that like his entire generation has been serving in the British Armed Forces, right? Like, so like his father served, his father before him, and his great father before him served, right? Like, he was very proud in serving in the military, and then they put his picture on a poster calling him Snowflake.
Well, you get what you sign up to.
And like the news media was like, well, is it legal? And it's like, even if it was fucking legal, like, you don't do that. It's like a person that serves your country. It's like a family that serves your country for generations. You don't humiliate them just because it's legal.
Well, so long as it's legal, V. It's legal. It's okay.
But like, if it's legal, it's even more harrowing. So like, the moment you become a soldier, like, they own your face. You know, like, they can put your face wherever they want. They can get you to say whatever slogan they want.
Speaking also, as we're back to the early 2000s here, another example of how we're heading back in time. Do you remember gamers are dead? Gamers don't have to be your audience?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're doing that again now.
Oh my god, that is fucking true.
We are actually doing that again now.
Is this like how, you know, like, things go for 0 to 100, and now it's going from 100 down to 0, so like, we're traveling the same path again, but like,
yes.
in reverse?
Yes, we've kicked the engine in reverse and we're heading back now.
Well, we used to think as a gamer, a bored teenager with a console is no longer correct. Well, oh my fucking god, International Women's Day, holy shit. I mean, okay,
I think that's still pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, a gamer is a person who makes time to play video games, right? Like, normal people find time to play video games. But like, I don't even know if people call themselves gamers anymore, simply because it's so normalized that it's kind of like calling yourself a TV watcher. Like, everyone watches TV. Or an internet surfer. Like, everyone surfs the internet. You don't call yourself that. Like, playing video games is just like part of life for everyone now.
See, I have as far stricter criteria for gamer. You have to be good at games too. Video games journalists, for example, do not get to be gamers. I hold the door shut in their face. They do not get to enter.
It is a point. Like, if you play games quite often, it's almost impossible that you're not going to be at least decent at the games you're playing.
Oh, the video games journalists will disagree with you on that.
Yeah, but they don't play games. That's the thing, right? I mean, look, if you're going to play Street Fighter, right? You don't play fighting games. But like, if I were to force you and we would play Street Fighter for 1 year, there is no fucking way you're not going to be decent at that game.
True, but there are people who are just bad at video games. They exist. There are people who are actually just bad at video games.
I mean, yeah, but do they play that often, right? Like, because if you play often, like if you play every single day, like, sure, you're not going to be the best, because that's not how it works. But if you play every single day, you're going to be at least above average.
I don't know.
You're going to have.
I don't.
No, I think it's like you may have prodigies, like someone that picks up a game and is really good from the beginning. But like I do think that if I were to play whatever game you want, Europea Universalis, right? And I don't know anything about it. But if I were to play like every single day for 1 year, there is no way that I wouldn't be average at it.
Maybe average, maybe. But there exist people who are just bad at games and would have to put in far more time and effort than anybody else to even become average.
Yeah, but like my point is, even those average are better than a video game journalist.
Rosa's in the chat there. Hello, Rosa. Saying, my stepdad used to play Call of Duty every day against bots. He still sucked. There you go.
Yeah, but well, I guess it's because he's playing against bots, right? Like, you need to challenge yourself a little bit.
I know a certain other someone, too, who plays a lot of games and is still awful at them.
Who do you know that plays a lot of games and is awful at them?
That would be doxing V. I couldn't possibly. But no, absolutely. This is something I have learned relatively recently. There are people who are just bad at video games, and there's no helping them. They were born bad at video games, and they continue to be bad at video games.
I think that it's just like the genre, right? Like, if those people find the genre that fits them, they will be good at video games.
I don't know about that.
I mean, grand strategy games, like they're difficult. They're not for everyone, but some people are really good at them without putting that much effort.
Elsie Sorana says, question for V. If you had to choose, which would you breed? Oh god. Brownie kibs, regular kibs, Neko kibs, or troll kibs?
I think Neko kibs.
That's a safe choice, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw the picture of it, right? It has boobies, so...
That's a start.
Did you see Andrew Tate's take? Or should we not discuss that?
Andrew Tate's take on what?
Whether or not you would have sex with a 1 out of 10 woman or a 10 out of 10 transgender woman.
I think didn't we annoy the trannies enough last time, V?
No. I mean,
No?
we talked about Hogwarts.
I have not seen his take. What was his take?
So this is what bewildered me, right? Because like everyone says that he's like very right wing, but like he was very progressive on this issue. He said that if he had to choose, like when he says a 10 out of 10 transgender woman, he talks about Megan Fox with a dick, and when he says like a 1 out of 10 woman, he talks about Hulk Hogan with a pussy. And he says that he would rather have sex with Megan Fox with a dick rather than to have sex with Hulk Hogan with a pussy.
Oh. So he confirmed himself to be a homosexual.
Well, no, he actually thinks that if you have sex with Hulk Hogan with a pussy, he thinks that is homosexual.
Aha. So he's in denial.
I do not know. It was like something that I like. I was watching it, and I'm like, "What am I watching? What is this? Like, is this?" And I had to check. It's like, is this deep fake? Is this AI? No, it was Andrew Tate.
Well, we don't judge people here for their sexualities. Andrew Tate can be gay if he wants to. This choice.
Yes. I mean, I'm not judging. It's just that I was
told homosexual.
Yeah, I was told he's a bigot, but it seems that he is a very open-minded individual.
Quite accepting, actually.
Yes. A progressive man for a progressive future.
There you go. Well, hopefully he'll get out of jail soon so he can continue to teach the good gospel.
Look, Rosa agrees with him. There you go. Rosa is now a Tate follower. I bet Rosa is going to root for Top G.
Wow, multiple homosexuals at once. It is good to know that he is progressive in that matter, though.
Yeah. I mean, we need more progressive people.
No interesting Norwegian news today. That makes me sad. Usually I look up the Norwegian news to see if there's anything particularly retarded going about.
And every time you're being disappointed.
Oh no, sometimes there's some really good shit. Like there was one thing where one of the leaders of one of our parties were talking about screwing over the Sami again, which I do quite like.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to rescue you with another news article. This is more up your alley. Apparently Marvel is creating a original character.
Ah, is she fat and black?
No, she's actually an American Indian. With a horrible design choice. But at least she's original, I suppose.
What if introduced a new Native American hero named Kahuri? That sounds awfully
Kahuri.
Japanese.
No, it's the Kahori, I believe.
The newest Marvel superhero from What If. Okay, what's her backstory then?
Well, some magic rock from the sky land the Tesseract. The Tesseract lands in Native America, and we're wondering what if. And I'm thinking like, okay, so if the Tesseract lands in Native America, and her tribe, what was his name? The something Confederacy. Okay.
The sovereign. Oh God, no. There were no sovereign nations in America. There weren't. They were not nations. They were bands of savages. Now, how do we got that out of the way? It was called the Sovereign Haudenosaunee Confederacy.
Okay, if the Tesseract lands and the Sovereign Haudenosaunee Confederacy manages to get it, they would become immediately a state. Then they would become the American Empire, and then they would start colonizing Europe. And then they would go to Africa and buy slaves from the Portuguese.
Probably.
In order to bring to Europe. Yeah,
that's
what would happen.
They'd probably just enslave the other little stupid nations in America and then sell them to the Europeans instead. There's no need to go all the way to America.
Europe. No, I think they would colonize Europe. Unironically, like if you give technology to like superior technology to the people in the past, right? Like it doesn't matter what people, but like they would just create an empire, right? Like spanning the entire continent. And once they would take over everything, they would be like, okay, well, what's left to conquer? Oh, Europe.
Well,
because human beings are very territorial.
I'm reading a second article here, and it just doesn't really tell me much about the story, but I'm presuming they're going to be aliens or something.
They don't want to give you spoilers. They want you to...
Let's see.
Yeah, like the thing with Wakanda doesn't make sense. Like, why is Wakanda isolationist? Like, why doesn't Wakanda conquer entire Africa and then go to conquer Europe?
She's a part of the Mohawk Nation. Okay, where was the... Because the big question here is, are they potato Indians or are they Plains Indians? Let's see.
Nani?
That looks like Plains Indians to me.
They're Indians feather, not dot.
No, because there were two types of Indians. The Spanish classified them in two types: the potato Indian and the Plains Indian. The potato Indian were those that lived around the coast because they were relatively peaceful hunter-gatherers. Like they grew potatoes and they grew corn and all kinds of stuff, and they were happy dappy. You know, Spanish showed up and they were like, "Hey," and they submitted immediately. You know, cooperative.
Oh, so like basically, no. I get what you're saying. So like, there were the migratory people, right? Like the Huns, I guess, right? Like they're just they do not sow; they just travel and they take stuff.
Yes, and then you have like the Plains Indians, who were the ridiculously aggressive and savage ones.
Right, like the Huns, the what else we have? Like the migratory tribes that plundered Eastern Europe.
Yes, they were incredibly warlike, incredibly savage, and remarkably cruel.
Like the German tribes, right? I mean, the Roman Empire describes how they descended from the forest. It was like a human calamity, you know, like the Picts, I believe.
I think these might have been worse.
I don't know. I mean, like basically, Like there were some Germanic tribes which had like a 20-kilometer kill zone around their villages. Like anything that got in there, like they would immediately just for no reason, like not even talk, not just.
At least they just killed them. I also want to point out the Indians had a thriving slave trade, but they didn't consider their slaves to be slaves. They considered them to just kind of be like members of the village with less rights than the rest.
I mean, didn't the Aztec had like very brutal ways of sacrificing people?
Oh yes, but they were a bit further south again, and a bit more agrarian too.
And what about the other ones? In Mexico, there was another empire.
Well, yeah, but now we're not talking about Indians anymore. Now we're talking about Mexicans.
No, because like Mexicans from today, from what I understand, is like the mixture between the people that were there and the Spanish.
Yes.
Right. So like before the Spanish came, there was another empire, not the Aztec.
They were the Aztecs, they were the Mayans, they were the Incas.
The Mayan. Yeah, the Mayans. Were they like the Aztecs? Did they also sacrifice?
I believe all of them did human sacrifice to agree, but the Mayans now are not even in America anymore. Now we're in like northern South America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like from what I understand, I was doing a roleplay game, and I looked a little bit at the. Oh, look, Shortfat Otaku is rating us.
Hello, dear.
But I looked a little bit at the history of the Aztecs, and apparently, like they believed that if there was ever peace, the end of the world would come. Yes. Right? So like they have to constantly be in war in order to avoid the end of the world. Like they had to just declare war on someone. I mean, like that is just such a bizarre ideology to have. And I think like religion is actually connected to people that end up being conquerors, like the Vikings, for example, right? Like they believe in Valhalla, dying in combat. So like their warlike religion was what made them an empire.
In part, because they believed that if the human sacrifices were to ever stop, then the sun would stop rising too, and then everybody would just freeze to death. But you also got to remember that they believed that the world had already ended, like, lots of times previously. That was just normal.
Yeah, I don't really know much about the religion, but it's so fascinating, though, because it's so different than what the Europeans have, and I think, like, the Europeans, like, they had fucked up religions as well, like the Druids, for example. But the Roman Empire came, and they didn't tolerate any of that shit. Like, the Roman Empire were actually very progressive. They would allow you to believe in whatever you want, as long as you don't do human sacrifices.
Very progressive. Though even then, they outlawed it slowly but surely over time.
Yeah, I think like the Spanish didn't like the human sacrifice, but like I know that the Aztecs were a little bit disliked because the way the Spanish conquered them was by using all the other tribes against them.
Yes, they created a coalition of the other tribes against the Aztecs, which was very effective because the Aztecs had made many, many enemies.
Yes.
In large part because they were so goddamn savage. I will say, though, returning to the whole Marvel characters thing, I don't hate her design. Like, she's got a little bit of that strong woman face, which I'm not... It's not quite there. Like, it looks like it could be better.
I mean, I don't like the war paint. It makes her look like she has 4 eyes, and it's really trippy.
So let me close her up. See, her face is like it's that square jaw. That's it. Like, she's got a square-jawed face, which makes her look oddly manly.
Yes. Like, if I had that jaw when I was a teenager, I would just walk past women and they would be wet. It's like, that is the jaw, like, I want my son to have. You can cut diamonds with that jaw.
I don't mind the war paint. Like, it's not terrible. Like, the bright blues are a bit off-putting, but you know why. They painted her blue so that she could look like she was all peaceful and stuff, you know? Peaceful and light blue, like, wee.
But it doesn't fucking make
patterns.
sense, because the war paint... Yeah, the war paint, it's in the fucking name. It's war, right?
Yes.
Like, if you're putting war paint, you're supposed to look aggressive. Like you're going to battle.
Well, I mean, we could also critique the choice of color, for example. Like, blue is not really a war painty color, in large parts because blue dye is actually rather difficult to get.
Yes, it was very expensive. That's why
Yes.
it's called royal blue.
Yes, it's hard to make. I don't even know if the Indians had the technology to make blue dye.
I mean, it depends, right? Because like they may have like various plants which grow there that may cause blue dye. I don't know. I know it's made from like a sea animal, which was very toxic, which is why it was a rarity. Because like few people were willing to get it.
I don't remember either. All I know is it was really difficult to goddamn make.
Yes, that's why it's called royal blue, because only the royals could afford it.
I was also trying to like think. Like I can't remember seeing much blue war paint. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Blue is not a warlike color. You know, it's not very aggressive.
No,
Maybe
no,
the
no.
Indians
It's
disagreed.
I mean, the only way you could have it is, I guess, like for religious ceremonies, maybe. But like, the whole purpose of war paint is to intimidate, right? Like to scare the enemy. And I guess like it also had like some superstitious reasons because they believed in some cases that the paint can make you invincible, which the British were shocked when I think it was in Africa, like when they were fighting some African tribes, like they were shocked that they keep coming, right? Like most other armies would rout, but like they would fight to the last man, and like at one point they captured the person, and it's like, well, why are you fighting to the last man? And they're like, well, because the war point is making us invincible, and it's like, well, yeah, but they died and they had the war paint. It's like, yeah, but they didn't believe enough.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't true believers. Like I believe my paint makes me invisible, so that's why I'm still here.
There was also
So like,
there was woad, which is the blue of like the Picts and stuff. That was
the pics.
woad. That was oh god, that was made from some creepy ingredients too. I remember.
Yeah, like many people don't realize that in history, like things that we take for granted now, like salt, were very expensive and very rare back then. So like to make dye isn't something very easy, right? Like it's a very difficult process, especially when you look at the technology that people had.
I don't. I remember I actually heard about the recipe for blue woad at some point, and it was derpy.
I can ask ChatGPT if you really want. Let me. So how is it spelled?
WOAD, I think. Woad.
Mm-hmm. Hold on. So how do you make? Blue woad is a natural dye that has been used for thousands of years. The process is like this: growing woad plants. It's a plant that grows in many regions of the world, gives its blue color. Harvesting the leaves, grinding the leaves, fermenting the powder, removing impurities, dyeing the fabric, and finishing. Why was it expensive then?
Okay, dyeing the leaves. Well, Chow was mentioning that you might have been thinking of purple too for royal blue.
Hmm. No, apparently it was a labor-intensive process. The process for making blue woad dye was very labor-intensive, required slaves. Involves growing and harvesting the woad plant, grinding the leaves, fermenting the powder, dyeing the fabric. All of these require skill, labor, were time-consuming. Any mistake can mean you're destroying the process. Limited availability. They don't grow in all the regions in the world. And high demand.
Okay. Well, I don't know about the Indians making blue war paint then. That's all I'm going to say.
Did the American Indians have blue war paint? Some Native Americans did use war paint. It's unlikely that they used blue woad to create it. Blue woad is a dye that comes from the woad plant, which is native to Europe. Native American tribes had their own traditional methods for creating natural pigments for war paint using materials that were available to them locally, usually minerals and charcoal. While blue woad was not a common color for war paint, Native American tribes did use blue pigments that were created from local sources, such as blue clay or crushed turquoise. However, these blue pigments were not as vibrant as those created from blue woad and were typically used in combination with other colors to create intricate designs on the skin.
So, no.
Well, no, like they did use some blue, but not the vibrant blue that you see in my room.
Well, we have officially debunked the blue war paint, I guess, then. Again, like, I don't hate the design. Like, I don't like the shape of the face. I don't mind the blue war paint. I suppose it's supposed to be, like, mystical, magical bullshit.
Yeah, like the Tesseract gave her mystical powers. Yeah.
Yep, magical bullshit. The storyline itself is, I mean, if they go full based with this and they go like, oh yeah, no, we're conquering warlike people now because they were, then alright, but somehow I doubt it.
No, they won't. They'll be like, oh my god, the evil Europeans are coming and we will defend and we just protect. And that's it.
Just protect.
Protect.
Mark James says, if you want to see live action action 140k, dying competent, look ups damnatious, but look for an AI resolution upscale. AI resolution upscale, is that a thing now?
Yeah, that's been a thing for a long time. Like you can make old movies look 4K. That's how they do it. They use AI upscale.
I don't know if I want to. Urashimi Otaru says MCU actually started before Disney bought Marvel. They did a little bit, but it was Disney that made it into what it was, in my opinion. There was also the. Did you see the Arc anime?
Arc anime sounds familiar, but tell me a little bit about it.
Oh, I don't know a lot about it. All I know is they have a brown girl too. Because normally I'm quite fond of brown girls. Brown girl equals good.
I mean, didn't like Pokemon had the brown girl and they were making her white on Tumblr and everyone freaked out?
I haven't watched Pokemon for very many years.
I think, yeah, it was like, again, you know, like all of this palette swapping that we get to see. There's like this person of color in Pokemon, and some Tumblr artist made her white, and it got Twitter to freak out. But like, I'm talking about thousands of people freaking out, right? So we know what happens when it's done in reverse.
We should just slowly but surely go around making every single brown character white. That'd be funny.
Wasn't there like the meme where someone made like a white guy, like his reimagining of Black Panther? It was like, well, anyone can be Black Panther. All you have to do is to eat that freaking flower, and there you go, you're a Black Panther. And had like this white blonde character, and he was like attacked viciously on Twitter. Like everyone was trying to dox him, like find out who he is.
Yep, I do remember that. That was funny. I enjoyed that. The white Black Panther.
Yes.
I'm trying to find White Blade. It's sadly not happening.
You know, that is a good point. Like, if they were to make Blade white and fat, I would probably be upset. Like,
Me too.
It's like, no. It's like, no, Blade is black. Why are you doing this?
God damn it. The white Black Panther one is being censored too. It's terrible.
Oh, did you know that they're making a movie from the Faith comic? Now you may be wondering what the fuck is the Faith comic?
That is the fat woman. Oh, there we go. There, white Black Panther. Ah, yes. Are they're making a movie out of that? Are they?
Yes, they're making a movie, and apparently, do you know what her power to fly is?
Oh, gravity repulsion?
No, it's called Zephyr, Arch.
Zephyr.
Yes.
She is so fat, the ground is afraid of her.
So I'm thinking, like, okay, if you're going to cast an actress that looks like that, how are you going to make it not jiggle? It's going to jiggle when she flies around, isn't it?
I don't know, chat. Don't you want to read a comic with this character?
So, like, the first version of the comic apparently, like, sold, I believe, like, 20,000 issues, but, like, the second version barely sold 1,000. Now, I'm not an expert, but, like, if she is sitting like that on the electrical cables with the laptop, wouldn't it fry the laptop?
I don't think the electrical cables would hold, honestly.
Well, maybe she's using Zephyr, right? Like, she's not using her entire weight.
Just... I do like that she's sitting so lightly and daintily, whereas if you do that in real life, the cables would just be groaning. Like, no.
No, like like how many pounds does she have? Like this is like a 150-kilogram woman. Like if you're sitting like that on the cables, unless they're made out of the titanium alloy, unless they're made out of what is the Wakanda material? No, it's not adamantium. It's
vibranium.
Whatever. Vibranium, right? If the cables are made from vibranium, maybe they would hold. But Wouldn't it
Also,
fry the laptop though?
I have another problem with this. So, fat is malleable, right? Because it's soft. So, if you had a woman flying at high speed and she was mostly fat, wouldn't she just kind of be all of the fat just traveling down her body?
Well, this is what I asked, right? Like, if you have an actress doing that, like, how do you stop it from jiggling?
Like, I would
Oh my fucking
imagine
god!
she would be just be covered in like fat flesh or
Look, look.
let's see. Put the puppy down. Okay.
Look at her design. Look at, oh my fucking god. So like, just so you know, right? Like, she is a journalist in her free time, right?
Of course she is.
I mean, is that an original story or what? Like original? So like, secret identity journalist, flies in the air. Uh, what is that in the sky? It's an eclipse. It's no, it's fake.
I mean, at least she's only kind of fat. You know, they could have made her, proper fat.
Well, it depends on the panel, I guess. Like in some panels, she's not fat, but like what I like is that even the I guess like the fan art of her, like they're going. It's like, okay, let's be more charitable. Let's give a more charitable interpretation. I mean, look at this, right? Like in this picture, for example,
Oh,
it
yeah.
it depends on panel to panel, right?
So, charitable first, where she's like plus sized, but not like monster, not like whale beast, you know?
Dude, I think like she goes over a coastal region, like she's going to treat the whalers like anti-air. Like they're going to just mistake her and fire at her.
And then she grows larger still. Okay, I do like the last panel too, because you see what I presume is her foot up in the top right there. I'm like, that's optimistic. That's very optimistic for your size.
I don't know, man. Like, who looks at this and goes like, okay, so the comic didn't sell for shit. Let's make a movie out of it.
Well, they're probably thinking that they can get on that progressive wave that's all the hype amongst the kids.
Like, you can make a progressive movie and you can still sell it. Like, for example.
No.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, you can. Hasbin Hotel, right? Six X and Hammer likes it. Hasbin Hotel, despite if you like it or not, it is a progressive thing. Like it's got a lot of woke things in it, but it's good. And I'm saying it's good because it's got a huge fan base, right? It's profitable. So objectively speaking, it's a good show.
See,
this, however, is not going to have a huge fan base. It's not going to be profitable.
I posit a counter argument. Hasbin Hotel is a setting in where only gay people go to hell.
We don't know who's in heaven, though.
All the straight people, obviously.
No, I mean, can gay people go? Like the whole thing with Hasbin Hotel is
they all go to hell.
How do you know?
Because there's only gay people in hell.
Yeah, you're just taking the progressive controversy.
I'm saying the creator of this stuff is actually rather based.
I don't think they thought about it.
I would actually recommend Hasbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss, though, because they are beautifully animated and they are sheer quality. And so I don't even care if the creator is woke. Like, good, you made a good thing.
Yeah, like, my point is, you can make good woke, but you need talented people. And unfortunate, but like, yeah, as you mentioned, Arch, right? Like, this is why good woke can't exist, because like the moment they made Hasbin Hotel, they lashed on to the fact that there's LGBT people in hell, right? And if there weren't LGBT people in hell, they would criticize the fact. It's like, well, why are there LGBT people here, right? It's like, you can't win with these individuals.
See, I'm just happy to take the W in this case and say that only gay people go to hell. I'm fine with this. It's okay.
I mean, again, we don't know if there's gay people in heaven. Oh my fucking god, Arch! Holy shit! Like the more I look into this comic, the more it's like every frame is a present.
I am a superhero flies off into the sky.
Zephyr.
Because she inspires fears in those below her, I guess.
No, Zephyr is the power of the wind. Like she literally uses farts in order to levitate.
Oh, well.
You didn't know? I thought you got the joke.
Well, she's a superhero, and that's all I need to know.
Yeah, I think Zephyr is like a warm wind. It's not like a cold wind. That's like the
wind.
blizzard.
Well,
Yeah, it's the type of wind.
Pointing that out.
Yeah, it's the type of wind you get in the desert, right? So it's like a warm, a hot breeze. It's not like a cold one. That's the blizzard.
What if her powers came from the magical donut she wore as a ring, says Chat. Yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's true.
Maybe she ate a magical donut. I
She
do
probably
like
ate
her
more than one.
chin region there. Like, I do not flatter myself with the thought that I have a particularly strong chin, okay? I am fine with this. It's one of my flaws. But this woman does not possess one. It is just a bump, and then it's just more flab.
I think she is suffering from a thyroid problem. Like she's
thyroid
got
problem.
that.
I think she's suffering from multiple.
She's got like that. What do you call it? Like when your neck is inflated like a frog, you know?
I don't know what they call that. I don't know. Want to know.
Okay. I know how it's spelled in Romanian, but I don't know how it's in English.
Elsa Solano says V is not into grape culture, but Arch is into breeding culture. Breeding culture is good. It breeds excellence. Aha. God damn it, we are so far behind on the super chest now. V needs to speak less, that's the problem.
Well, I will speak as much as you want me to. If I speak too much, just let me know.
Well, we can move on to doing some super chats now, since we've covered most of the topics today, I think. There was the one you was going to talk about, the argument between Timothy of the Pool.
Oh, you want me to talk about that? Right, so
why not?
Temple...
We'll do that as the last one.
Yeah, Temple came out. Do you want to show the thing, or do I just describe it?
Yeah, go on. Send me the link, and I'll put it up on screen.
Yeah, let me find it. But basically, Temple comes out very upset. Apparently, VTubers are earning more than him. Top super chatters on YouTube, VTubers, all of them, and he's like, well, they're fat dudes. Like that was his conclusion. And it's amusing because that's literally the conclusion that happened when Project Melody got banned from Twitch, and she got on Chatterbait, and you had like all the women there spurging out because she was on the front page, right? And it's like, she's probably a fat dude in real life, and you guys are giving her money. Right? Is that like as if if you're on Chatterbait and you give money to a quote unquote real woman, it makes you a Chad or some shit. But anyway, right? So that was Timple's argument, and in response, there was another VTuber, which is very based from what I could see, which challenged Timple to a debate. Here we go. She also makes fun of Timple for talking about Civil War, blueballing her about Civil War. Like she expects it to come any day now, but like Timple keeps hyping it up and it never happens.
To be fair, I've been wanting the American Civil War to kick off for a while now too, and it just doesn't happen.
I don't think it will happen. No.
I hope so. I live in my dream.
Why do you want the world economy to crash, Arch?
Timothy of the Pool. I actually kind of like Timothy of the Pool. He does cover a lot of news. Like, he's a good, like, summary engine. His takes are occasionally a pinch weird, from my perspective, but such is life. As for all of the VTubers being fat dudes, I agree on principle.
I mean, most of them have been doxxed, and we know that how they look like in real life. Others have shared their info. But, like, the question is, like, do I want to watch someone that goes like, World War Free? Do I want to watch that guy, or do I want to watch a wholesome girl playing playing video games? You know, like, even if the VTubers were fat dudes, at least I get to watch some entertainment rather than, like, the same moral panic inducing like hyped up videos.
To be fair, she is pointing out that Timothy is being racist towards her kind. I appreciate that.
Well, he is. Like, he said all VTubers.
All. Hashtag all.
Yeah,
but on the other hand, I do also know that some VTubers have in fact been revealed to be fat dudes, V, so you can't say not all, hashtag not all.
It is true, but like usually it's the they're calling them V-tweeters, right? Because they have like literally 2 views, like them and their mother, and they have that because all they do is criticize other VTubers, so they don't put effort into their content. Like literally, no one knows who the fuck they are, but they're going to other VTubers. It's like, oh my god, you can't say this, you can't say that, and then it's revealed that they're usually more on the manly side.
See, I get kind of like Timothy of the Pool's position too, I guess, where he's like, because you gotta remember, Timothy of the Pool takes himself very seriously. He had the whole Subverse drama as well, where he was like, I copyrighted Subverse, how dare they make a filthy porn game out of it? Timothy believes that he's a news company, not just a YouTuber, and I have bad news for you, Timothy. You're just a YouTuber.
Yeah, but like even then, like people aren't going to watch the news 24/7. Like unless it's an election year, unless there's like something going on in the world, people don't prefer to watch the news. Like they watch entertainment.
Yeah, and that's the reason why the VTubers are doing very well, because the VTubers have actually managed to, well, not the VTubers. See, that's the thing. The VTubers are not doing very well. There are millions of them that are completely and utterly irrelevant. But there are a handful of companies that have done unfathomably well out of this. Like, you watch one of their streams and there's just like a solid line of $100 super chats at the top. Like, it never moves. It's always filled. They must be earning truly ridiculous quantities of money. And the reason for it is probably because they are selling the escapism that nobody else is allowed to sell anymore.
Correct. And I think like the biggest streamer on Twitch right now, a female streamer, is a VTuber by the name of Shy Lily.
There you go.
I may be wrong. She managed to take Amaranth. Like, she overtook Amaranth.
And it's because they're selling the product that people want. The product is escapism. It's not talking about anything in particular. It's not talking about the real world or anything that's happening. It's just the idol and the performance, which I can absolutely respect.
And what I'm interested in the VTube community is that you get like left-leaning people and right-wing people like watching the same VTuber. Like that usually doesn't happen. Like you don't usually get like left-leaning and right-wing people just being in the same community.
Well,
because usually they're like, we're inclusive here, and we're so inclusive we're going to kick you out.
Well, I'll point out that only goes until the VTuber says something that speaks to either Group A or Group B.
Well, yeah, but you usually shut the fuck up, right? Like, that's part of the escapism.
Yeah, but again, that's the thing. It's not that they can coexist in the same community, it's that their division is not brought up, because both sides are seeking it for the escapism, and both sides assume that the person is on their side. That's the parasocial relationship.
Actually, when I first joined the VTuber community, there were people on the right that said, like, V, like, I agree with your politics, but shut the fuck up. Like, we're just watching anime girls here. And the left were like that. Like, they're enforcing, like, shut the fuck up about politics. And I was like, but I'm not here to talk about politics, all right? Like, just calm down. But, like, that is how many of these VTube communities act, right? Like, they're centered around a couple of talents, and they do not bring up politics.
Mm-hmm. That also does mean that it is an extraordinarily fragile ecosystem too, though, because the moment the streamer does something against the narrative of neutrality, like playing a visit game, for example, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, but like, I do think those people were defeated. Like, they didn't get what they want.
Well, were they defeated? I mean, they drove one VTuber out, and another one was crying on the stream. That was just the beginning too. Like, that wasn't even a full harassment campaign. That was just a little bit of spice.
Of tickling. Yeah, but like the one crying on the stream eventually went. It's like, fuck you, I'm going to play it anyway.
Yep, to her credit. That's the thing. And there's also I think you said this, V, which I actually tend to agree with. It's good that VTubers are under strict management because women need to be managed.
It's not women need to be managed, it's YouTubers need to be managed. I mean, look what happened to Internet Bloodsports, right? Like, they were making 20 grand per month, right? And all they had to do is get guests and let them talk to each other. But because the egos were there, co-hosts started arguing with each other. They started creating dramas internally. Yeah, like if you have a company and tells you to stop that shit, then you make money. If you don't have a company that tells you to stop that shit, then you have drama.
Because it needs to be kept under control, because what you are selling is not the VTuber, it is the product of the idol.
Yes.
That is also why they're making bank, because right now they are managing to stay outside of it. I do wonder how long it's going to last, though. Well, we will see. We will see.
Well, the market is kind of oversaturated at this point. And I know this because riggers, which used to ask for $10,000 per bottle, are now asking for $8,000. And I'm like, oh, I see.
Kerrycan says, hey, where's Kibbs? Hi V, if anyone is interested, I do Command Conquer Law once a week at Armed with Speculation on YouTube. Love seeing you guys work. There you go. If you're interested in Command Conquer Law, definitely check that out. Kib has resigned because he needed to spend more time streaming. And so V is a new friend. Yes.
Hello.
V was very quick there. It's like, wait, Kyle's leaving money on the table. Let me just sidle on in here. Elsa Serrano says, too much of a good thing results in gaping backsides and fudge ice cream. That is true, too. You can get tired of everything. There was once a point in time where we were getting sick of too many Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone movies.
I do remember that.
Those were the good old days. Again, like we talked about a little bit before the stream started, there was a time when shows like SWAT Cat failed because they were just one great show out of 5 million.
I actually looked at it why it failed. It was too expensive to produce.
Yes. And it didn't get
but
enough
it was
of an
very
audience.
popular. No, because back then it was really like they had the Cartoon Network exclusive thing, so they couldn't like market it in other places.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it was very popular, but it wasn't popular enough to justify the cost. Meanwhile, there were other shows that had roughly the same quality, but they were just that tight of a market back then.
Yeah, but like if SWAT Cats was allowed to have like DVDs, and it was allowed to have it on other channels, to air on other channels, it would have been profitable. But they had like an exclusive contract with Cartoon Network, so that prevented them from being profitable.
It was a ridiculously tough market back then, and now not so much. Charlie says, Pipkin Pippa collab stream when? Also breed Gibbs.
Fishman would never allow Pipkin Pippa to descend on this channel. Like, didn't allow her to go on Nick Riquieta either.
Yep, again, remember, it's the it's the parasocial relationship. The reason why they're being watched by both sides, because both sides think they are on their side. You got to be very careful with what you allow them to say and who you allow them to collaborate with then.
Yes.
Elsie Serrano says, Arch needs to collab with Silvervale. Definitely not. If for no other reason, then he can spend the entire stream talking about her booba. See, that one isn't even a agree thing. That is a far too large thing.
Yeah, it's the rule of YouTube, right? Like, if they have half more subscribers than you, then you don't exist.
Yes.
It's why Tim Pool is not going to interview Kirsche. It's because, like, he's going to look at her subscribers like, who is this? Not going to waste my time.
Yes. This is why I consider myself to be a better human than Timothy of the Fool.
It is true. Like, we do stream with smaller YouTubers.
I've never really seen the point in being like, oh, well, I mean, you can't benefit me. Why? Oh.
Well, I think it's because, like, when you're young and, you start using the platform and you want to collab with your favorite e-celeb and they're, like, not acknowledging you, it hurts, And all that pain gathers up. And at one point, when you get big, you channel that pain into not collabing with people smaller than you, so you can teach the next generation on how to behave.
Maybe. See, I do have one standard. Like, if people, because I occasionally get requests for messages going on the ArchCast, and they've started their channel, like, months ago when they got a few hundred subs. I'm like, okay, I don't even know if you'll be doing YouTube in 6 months, you know?
Yeah.
But if you put in the effort, odds are you've got a decent chance of getting on here as well. If you've got something interesting to say.
Consistency.
Yes. But Silvervale has, oh god, what? She must be in the million subs class by now, surely.
I mean, when you have artists of that level drawing you smut, you're probably a millionaire.
Let me see. Oh, no, merely 350,000. Yep, nope, not happening.
Wait, don't you have like 350,000?
No, only 200 and... What?
That's in the range. Look, chat, if you know Silver Veil, say that Arch is waiting.
250-something thousand. It's something, but it is not that level.
I think it's within the level of possibility.
Shadow Turtle Yin Yang says, is forest a standard measurement in Norway? Yes. In fact, my plot of land is 2 forests. There's the forest beneath my house, which has been leveled into a field and is now a lawn, and there's the forest above my house, which has been leveled and is now a swamp.
Didn't you have like mooses? Like I remember talking to you in one night, and like this like banging noise happened, and I thought it's a drive-by shooting. But then I remembered you're not in the United States, and you told me there's a moose that's sharpening its antlers on your house.
Yes, we do have mooses. We had a deer chilling on the lawn not that long ago. That was pretty cute.
So like the previous cut forest.
No. That was the lawn beneath my house. It had found a patch in the snow where it could eat grass, and it was very happy.
So basically, you destroyed its habitat, and now it was eating your lawn.
No. Heaven destroyed its habitat by snowing on its fucking beautiful little grass.
Naruhodo.
Sentinel Rex says, if Harry and Wifey wanted, they could capitalize on the image of going from luxury to working class. They could do a show where he tries working class life, and she the homemaker, fake but effective. That's true.
I would watch that.
Unironically, Harry could absolutely do a collaboration with the Discovery where he goes on dirty jobs and he just looks like a posh loser. they're part of that. You gotta remember, Harry used to be the favorite son because, I mean, he was actually a bit of a rough and tough bastard. Like, he was in the army, he went through all of the training, he saw combat in Iraq, I think. Granted, you know, heavy attack helicopter combat, so 2 kilometers away from anything dangerous, but still.
Didn't he brag about killing Muslims in combat? And it was like such a bad thing to do because like you will notice that soldiers don't brag about their KDA because like imagine if you're a British person within the same country and you're, you know, not political leader, but like someone that's important talks about like how he killed people. It puts you in a pickle, doesn't it?
Yeah, but soldiers do that. Like, of course you talk about that. It's a thing you do.
I don't think I've ever heard like a general officer or a royal talk about how many people they killed.
I don't know about that. It depends on the time, but he did go from cool soldier dude to whipped. Poor guy.
Yes. I'm genuinely curious, like, what happens in his relationship. She must have the golden vagina. There's no other explanation, man.
I mean, let's be fair here. She is pretty goddamn hot. Like, she's a beautiful white woman.
I don't know. I guess from Romania we have different standards, but I mean, she's not bad looking, but she's not like a 10 out of 10 waifu.
Meghan Markle is not bad. You know, again, she's I do love the fact that she's black, though. Like, I do adore that, because she's tea-colored at best. I remember. Do you remember when Resident Evil, the one in Africa, came out and people criticized the female character for not being black enough?
Yes.
Like, she was considerably blacker than Meghan Markle.
Yeah, and she was actually quite hot. Shiva was her name.
I just want to remind chat here, this is the black woman standing next to British royalty, one of the whitest species on the goddamn planet.
I don't see it. Can you post it?
Oh, well. There you go. Her hat is browner than she is.
Yeah, unironically, like if she comes to Romania, like no one would discriminate against her.
No, you're accepted here, Mrs. White Woman. Like, hold on, I am black. What?
Yeah, literally. And I remember like they actually tried to have like a black wedding, quote unquote. It's like they tried to get like I guess like black traditions or whatever. Because there was like a big thing in the British media about it. And I was looking like, really? Like, is she? I would not be able to tell.
But still, you know, she is not unattractive in the slightest, so that is one reason why she is so popular. With Harry, at least. Elsie Serrano says, the Death Wish movie with Charles Bronson. Perfect analogy for the modern day. I don't think I've seen it, actually.
Me neither.
2018. Charles Bronson. No, that's got to be... Ah, yeah, that looks older. Oh, I'll check it out. Sujad says, he cries as he strikes at you. That is what the woke does.
Like, the idea of cry bullying is a very modern take.
It is. It's an effective one, though.
Yeah, if you have the powers that be aligned with you, then yeah.
American Outlier says, as US Rep Sheila Jackson Lee said, it's very well documented that words nowadays can actually break your bones. I hope that's fake. But I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. Elsie Serrano says, hey Arch, theoretical question. You're the CEO of Games Workshop. How would you set up the 40k universe if the Horus Heresy next happened and the Imperium is fighting the Force of Chaos? Next happened?
Probably like didn't happen. So like if the Horus Heresy didn't happen.
And the Imperium is fighting the Force of Chaos. I'm mildly confused, but I'm presuming if the Horus Heresy next happened? Next? I'm actually confused.
No, it didn't happen. Let's say this, okay? Horus Heresy didn't happen. How would you continue the story?
Well, seeing as the Emperor would win, he'd probably wipe out Chaos.
Yeah, but like, I guess like you could add drama, so like you'd have to have something, right?
Tyranids were on the way, I guess.
No, I guess like I would create just something new. Like maybe Chaos would like realize that they're being wiped out, like create their own version of an emperor. Like they would sacrifice themselves and like create a new god or something. Because you need to have drama in order to continue the story.
Right, C says in chat. Never happened. Well, if it didn't happen, honestly, Chaos would probably be pushed back to the brink. They could probably mount some sort of resistance. It would be Chaos on the defeated side. The Imperium, the overarching hegemonic power. You might have an alliance of lesser races like Eldar and stuff trying to fight back. Maybe a return of the beast at some level.
That's actually a good idea, right? So like Chaos would unite all the other races against humanity because it would be self-interest thing. Because like humanity is destroying, you know, like they're on a genocidal path to wipe out the Eldar, to wipe out the everything else. So like Chaos would try to unite all of these races.
They probably
against
would
the Imperium.
Seduce them to join together. They might also try to activate the beacons to call the Necrons, I guess, if they know about them, which Chaos might. Since there's theories that the Tyranids might have been created to defeat Chaos. As for the Necrons, I think they would just get nuked, honestly. Because the thing is, the Necrons are powerful now, but against the unified Imperium, they'd be waking up one world at a time. Like, they would just get smushed.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaos does work with others. Chaos is very inclusive.
You could create some drama in the Imperium as well. Like, okay, Horus Heresy didn't happen, but that wouldn't stop, like, other Primarchs from freaking out.
The Primarchs might start freaking out anyways and have mini civil wars.
Yeah.
Get bored in their little perfect house beneath the Imperial Palace. Paper Wolf Arch says, Here Arch, take some money and thanks for the lore. Also, hi V. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello.
Elsisran also says, one of those watchers is to alert her if her heart starts beating so she can rush to the hospital to get it stopped again. Yes, the bank lady.
Okay, well, like, you don't wear another watch then. Like, you either wear that or you don't wear another watch.
She needs to know the time too.
that tells you the time.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Like, it's not. It doesn't have that functionality.
Yes, it does.
No.
It's an Apple Watch.
No, it's not. It just looks like one. It is to hide the fact that she's actually a lich. Okay, it's a device to fool you when you fall.
Oh, that's the philanthrop. What do they call it? The phylacterium. What do liches have? Where do they store their soul?
Phylactery, yes.
Yes. All right. That's the phylactery.
Okay, I will say a slight. This won't be okay. Just look at that, V, and I'll show it to chat too because that is funny. Korean light novel Become Hitler. Man becomes Hitler overnight and must win World War II to return to his original self.
That is, like this is why American art is dead, because like Korean can do that and it's funny, right? Like it's not serious. You're not going to give rise to the Third Reich. It's just like a funny thing, and not to mention, it's thought provoking. Like, okay, what if it happened to you? All right, like you became Hitler overnight. Like, what do you do?
Well, time to win the war, I guess. And to be fair, this isn't even the craziest isekai idea I've seen. Like, there's one in which a person gets reincarnated as just a fish, and then has to, live life as a fish in a pond.
What if you surrender, though?
I imagine you'd have to live at the tender mercies of Stalin.
No, because you can surrender to the Americans.
How?
And it also
Fly to
depends, like
Britain?
when do you become Hitler? Like, do you become before or after Barbarossa?
I'm presuming, seeing as there's going to be some drama here, it's going to have to be after things start heading south quick.
So after Barbarossa. Like after Stalingrad. But like after that, there's nothing you can do.
Well, you'll just have to figure something out, my boy. There's also a manga where a dude becomes a vending machine. That one's actually not halfway bad. It's a little bit retarded, but,
The stories that they come up with.
See, that is genuinely the beauty of the East. Like, they look at the stuff that's currently going on. Like, okay, what's popular? Isekai. All right. What has been done in Isekai? This, and that. All right. I'm going to just throw a dart at a series of fucking words, and that's what I'm going to make. And it kind of works. It does, because sometimes people will come up with something brilliant, like the reborn as a villainess, for example, where you're not born as the hero, you're born as the antagonist, and you do the perspective from that point of view. That works really well.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. East is the fount of creativity. I shouldn't keep the light novel Hitler one up on screen for too long, because there is a tiny part of a virgin windmill there in the background.
Happy Wheel, yeah.
Yep.
That is another thing. Like you play Company of Heroes 2, right? And you get the hammer and sickle, and you get all of that. But there's no Happy Wheels on the German tanks, and it's a World War II game. I think like Germany actually doesn't have that law anymore if it's art related. So if it's like a manga or if it's a historical movie or a video game, like now you can have the Happy Wheel.
Yes, so long as it's historically relevant to the thing, you can have the Happy Wheel. American Outliner says, also speaking of banks, here in the US, I have a feeling we're about to have a bank bailout too. Electric Boogaloo. SCV Bank with tech and Silvergate with crypto. There might be
about that.
Another bank bailout. Who knows? Like, Biden is kind of the establishment man. And, like, the alternative to not having a bank bailout, like, I don't think the Democrats could afford it. Because, whoever is in power gets the blame. Such is reality. If they don't bail out the banks and people, lose all of their money and lose millions, etc., nobody's going to be voting for Democrats. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you bail out, it pisses off other people. So, like, usually the people who lose their money are the people who should have lost their money. Like, why did you lend more than you can afford?
Well, it's not those that lose their money. It'll be normal people. Because if you don't bail out the bank, the money's not actually there. So if you had $1,000 in the bank and the bank doesn't have $1,000, well, your $1,000 is poof.
Then why not bail out the people rather than bailing out the bank?
That would be another way to just like give the payouts directly to the people and then close the bank. That would undoubtedly
That would
have
be
a
more fair.
whole fucking heap of logistical issues, but it would be far fairer.
Yeah.
But then it's also the question, like, okay, but now you've given a lot of money to just people. Like, how do you square that with the socialist ideology?
What do you mean? It's like you give money to
Because
the
now
people
people
because...
aren't dependent on the state anymore, because now they've got their money back again. Whereas the
that's what I'm
bank,
talking
the bank has all kinds of regulations. Like, you don't want people to distrust the banks, because then you start hurting the economy, too.
I see.
So, there's also the fact that, of course, the banks have a lot of money to give to politicians as well, whereas the average Joe doesn't really have that kind of spending money.
Yeah, that is correct. Well, I mean, Oprah is the average Joe in this situation.
Plus, like, oh God, we had it so good for so many years. For so many years, nothing went wrong. Everything was just perfect. And now we've got wars, we've got pandemics, and soon a little bit of an economic crisis too. Interesting times.
And it's so annoying because it's almost all of them are artificially created, right? Like the pandemic didn't lock down businesses and shut down the jobs and stuff.
Goddamn, the pandemic. And the pandemic at the start, it definitely didn't come from China. The pandemic at the end, yeah, it definitely did come from China.
I got videos demonetized because I talked about the lab leak theory. That's what they called it.
And now the FBI has that theory.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad that the FBI is, they know what's up, V. They're doing their job well.
Well, I hope the FBI gets demonetized because you can't talk about that theory.
So John says the EU has estimated 164 billion in fraud in 2020. Ooh. At least somebody's earning money. It's good to know. Elsa Serrano says, holy crap, the Shatner turned 91. Spooky yet based. I don't know what William Shatner eats or works out or whatever, but I want to do whatever he does. Have you seen him?
No.
Oh, God.
If I don't talk, it means I don't know the subject.
Let me see here. All right, here. This is a picture of William Shatner at 90.
Looks like a charming fellow.
He looks fucking amazing.
Looks like an American president.
Like, at fucking 90, like, the dude is doing too well. I'm actually a little bit annoyed now. I hope his insides suddenly fail.
Why, though?
Oh, a slightly older one here. He's got a little bit of more gray in his hair. But still looks very good for a 90-year-old person.
Again, he looks presidential. Like, what is the age range for American presidents? Like, you have to be over 75, right?
I don't know.
You don't get elected as an American president unless you're over 75.
Well, William Shatner for president, then, I guess. And Jack says, Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman. Ah, yes, Sarah Silverman. That's an institution in Hollywood right there, practically. Mark Shame, journalist plays the great game of power and fortune. They just aren't skilled enough to win money at a casino.
Oof.
And with Vox going bankrupt, they're probably not going to be skilled enough to get a paycheck either. At least not if they were in Silicon Valley banking.
Man, if Vox goes bankrupt, like, how many subsidiaries do they have?
Enough. Alex Massey says, I hate to say I found your lack of autism in Nebula's Fleet Command disturbing. See, the game is... It's on this teetering edge of being simmy enough where I can get properly engaged with it and not being simmy at all. Like, I wish it had actual electronic warfare instead of just, like, directional jammers, which do dick all half the time. Like, it needs more complicated nonsense with that. That and the fact that the AI kind of locks onto you regardless if you're jamming it or not, but at least it does work against missiles.
I have no idea what you just said, but it sounds based.
Also, it needs ELINT. It badly needs ELINT. Obsidian95 asks, Dark Sun campaign when, Arch? I don't have time to run any piece now. I am busier than goddamn ever. It is mildly awful. And it wasn't Dungeons and Dragons going to stop releasing Dark Sun because it was racist? I think there was something like that.
No, it was about like dark elves and orcs and stuff. They haven't touched Dark Sun because it makes them money.
Ah, okay. Because I know Dark Sun was very popular, but I thought it would be far too racist for the modern day audience.
No, if it makes money, it's fine. It's like Disney making deals with China.
That's true. It's like, yes, black character, you get to be in the background in China. Black917 says, Hail ArchCast, our Lord and Savior. Hi V. Hello, Black.
Hello.
3x3 Nihilo says, turquoise is blue, you adults. Well, V. Stupid V. Shame on you.
Turquoise. And it's not blue, it's a shade of blue. That's why it's called turquoise.
Spawn Freak says, if he's South African, he'll be Bleak Panther. Bleak Panther. I like that. That's funny. We need we need a Black Panther game where we can have character customization.
No. Like there's the disease where a black person doesn't have melanin. It's called albinism.
Yes.
Yeah, albinism. Black Panther.
So John says, the guy behind the white Black Panther got the abuse to stop by pretending to be a necromorph. Slur for trans person. Okay. Well. I mean, at least he got it to stop, you know. Tobin Russell.
I don't believe that. It would be funny if true, though.
Says, playing Warhammer 40k for the first time. Glory to Papa Nurgle. Oh, at least you picked a based faction. Remember, it's always fun to look at your opponent in the face and he goes like, you don't get a save against that. It's a very high strength weapon. And he's like, nah, I get a save against everything. So the Lich says, man with the harpoons. That would be Faith's natural enemy, just whalers.
It's like kryptonite for Superman, right?
Yeah. For her, it's just a harpoon.
No, I feel like her kryptonite would be like, you need to work out. Oh no, my power.
Her kryptonite is green. It's salad.
I feel my Zephyr leaving me.
So John says, if the movie doesn't succeed, they can write it off for a tax rebate, so it doesn't matter how much they lose. That is true, although California was planning to make those laws a bit more stringent due to how many people were goddamn abusing them.
Like, dude, if you can make a movie that's a tax write-off, right? Fine. But, like, why not make a tax write-off that's actually good and might even make you money in return?
Well, because that wouldn't be a tax write-off fee.
No, but, like, you're making more money, so in the end, you would actually gain more?
Well,
like, even if you have to pay the taxes.
Allow me to introduce you to the idea of the progressive tax system, where the more money you earn, the more they tax you.
Naruhodo. But, like, if you're making a movie, you're probably already in the upper bracket.
Probably. But you can always be in a further up bracket, V.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yes. I am Macrophale says, I bet Faith has the biggest audience by mass. Mark Shame says, instead of Marvel, I will watch Team Fortress 2 fan film Emesis Blue. Professional films are predictable. Give me a world of amateurs. That is true as well. At least they can do crazy shit. Which is why I quite like... Korean dramas is what people need to watch more of, because the Koreans have the balls to do crazy things, and they still do good old-fashioned character development, where a character can start out as the villain and become a decent person over the course of the show because he learns a lesson. Like, he evolves as a human being. It's weird.
Japan does the same, like Endeavor, right? Like, he's a wife-beater. In My Hero Academia, right? So, like, he starts off as a really bad dude. And then, by the end, he actually becomes a hero.
Yeah. See, this,
like,
this
imagine in the West. Yeah, but, like, imagine in the West, you take someone that's a wife-beater, right? Like there is... It's like taking a racist. And it's interesting because Stan Lee did that with Iron Man. Like, he looked at what the world hated at the time, and it was warmongers, drunk people, and drug addicts. So he made Tony Stark have an alcoholic problem, be a weapons manufacturer, and he used that as a hero. But you wouldn't do that today. Like, you wouldn't make a transphobic racist into a hero. But it
Well,
would be like an interesting character. Like think about it. Like, he would be conflicted, and there's like a burning building, and there's a minority in the building, and he's a hero. Like, he has to get through his racism in order to do the right thing. And it could be like a moral conflict there.
there's also the fact that we have a very different moral standard here in the West. Like a wife beater or a rapist, these are inexcusable absolute crimes. These are Holocaust things that cannot be forgiven. And no matter what happens to that character, it's all fine and dandy.
But don't you think like they have the same problem in Korea? Like, a wife beater is viewed negatively.
I don't know, negatively, sure. Like, I doubt it's positive. Like, yeah, good on you. She had it coming. But, like, so one TV show, for example. I was watching one TV show, and there was a dude in it, and he was a wife beater, or a girlfriend beater, or whatever. He was abusing women, and there were two of them, and they got together and like, oh my god, he was, like, abusive to you too? Oh my god, yeah, like, he gaslit me and stuff. Okay. And there was never any question that he was guilty, obviously, because the women said he was guilty, so clearly. And he got hit by a car. Like, he got run over by a fucking truck and was bleeding out. And everyone was just like, yeah, that's what you get. I'm like, this dude is dying. Like, I get that he was a bit mean to you, but surely there's a difference here. But no, there isn't. Like, that person dying horribly, that is not only fine, that is positive, because his crime is that vast that it has gone beyond murder.
No, I get that, yeah. I'm thinking, like, even a serial killer as a protagonist can happen. Like, you have Dexter. So, like, serial killers are viewed are viewed better than wife beaters.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's what, yeah, it's
like,
what you're
Dexter,
talking about.
the serial rapist
redemption.
would not be the same show.
Yeah, we're talking about the concept of redemption, right? Like a character arc. Like, you have someone that's a wife beater, then like it goes through something, through an event, which makes him like change his mind and regret his actions, and we don't have that.
No, we don't have that. And again, we also do have the inexcusable absolute sins.
Yes.
Dexter was a good show. It went awful near the end, but
Oh, wait, we do have that. Game of Thrones, I would say. Like, you have a child killer, like Jaime Lannister. Like he actually raped Cersei. And there was like a massive controversy about that. Like, he rapes her in the show, not in the books. And there's like a massive controversy about that online, and people were complaining about that scene.
did he rape
But
Cersei?
he still viewed it. Yeah, on
Jamie?
on the coffin of Joffrey.
Oh, I don't
like,
think
at the
that was
funeral.
rape, no.
And that's how they interpret it.
I'm not so sure. The
Oh,
closest that...
was...
I mean, the bastard, he raped other woman, Stark woman, and he was eaten by dogs, which was just a treat.
I remember an anime where you have like a rapist hero. It's the isekai with the unemployed one. The
That's
unemployed.
every isekai.
Yeah, like there's this unemployed dude, and he reincarnates in another world, and he's a child again, and learns water magic and shit. And his dad is a rapist. Like, his dad actually raped several women in his adventures, and you find out about that later on.
Oh,
But
like he wasn't a rapist, no. Like, Jesus. What kind
No,
of
no, like,
translation have you been reading?
I mean, I watched the anime. Like, they talk about him forcing himself on other women during his adventure days. Like, he was quite the rascal.
That's my face.
And it was also the family where they stayed that had like the Beast Girls.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he didn't rape them.
I think it was like a conversation between two characters. Like, it's not on screen, but they say that in his younger days he did that, and
yeah, he was a playboy.
Yeah, the protagonist judges him and says like, "What a bastard" or something like that. Like, I don't want to be a bastard like my father.
Yeah, but that wasn't because he raped them.
No, I'm pretty sure like there is whatever. We agree to disagree. I'll have to go back to the source material and we can. But I'm pretty sure like that was the case. Like he had voluntary sex with many women, but there were like there was one instance where he actually forced himself.
Or are you? No, it's not redo of Healer because they found that.
No, Riddle of Healer. But like Riddle of Healer would be an example where
I mean, redo of Healer is probably the closest to a rape anime, I guess.
Which is very interesting because like the author said that he's got like a high percentage of women watching that.
I mean, that's the thing. A high percentage of women are actually rather fond of that idea as a fetish. Anyway, we can have some Kiraga up on screen. There you go. And even then, like, I guess he brainwashed them before he raped them, so it's a loophole in the law there.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Jesus. Moving on. Teen Domino 25 says, my issue with Hasbin Hotel creator isn't that she's progressive, it's that the cancel mob came for her, she survived and knew how bad it was, and still joined the mob when they met after Five Nights at Freddy's guy. When they went after Five Nights at Freddy's guy. Okay, that is rather despicable. I do not like that.
That is horrible. Like usually I'm glad when it happens to a person that's like live by the sword, die by the sword, because at least like you'd think they would learn a lesson. And many of them do. Like there have been people me too, then after that they're like, you know what, I don't buy this anymore. Like for example, that guy that was like a movie reviewer, I think like he did the voice in XCOM. Like he's the voice of that shadowy man, right? He gets me too. And after that, like, he manages to survive and is like, well, I'm not a feminist anymore.
Yeah. Because that would be the natural reaction. But yes, if she partook, I'm pretty sure it's a she, if she partook in cancel culture nonsense after getting attacked by cancel culture herself, then yeah, that is very, very bad. And I don't like it. Mythic Fool says, Miss Arch yelling at Catrap, hashtag KickV for nostalgia. KickV, the old tag. Jack says, Timmy is a clout chaser. Stop watching him. I haven't watched him for a while now, honestly, because he got a little bit too one-track. He does tend to be a little bit dog with a bone.
Like every YouTuber is a dog chaser. Sorry, clout chaser. Because like you survive based on how many people watch you. And if you don't want people to watch you, then you can just do your show without streaming and you're just between four walls. Like the whole thing is to get views.
Though, I mean, there are middle grounds. I have certain rules on what I will cover and what I won't. No matter how clickbaity it might be.
Yeah, I don't like doing like the clickbaity title, like, you will never believe what blah, blah, blah.
It does feel gay, doesn't it? Like
Civil War. Civil War.
Sometimes I'll do a mildly clickbaity one, but it makes me feel dirty.
It does. I know. Like same with me. Like when I click that upload and I click the link, I'm like, ugh, I can't believe I did that.
Nicomaris says, I think Arch needs to take one for the team and go full big booby rat VTuber. I don't think I have the voice to pull it off, sadly. If I could, I would.
With AI, you may be able to.
I wish I was a woman V. I would be so much richer.
I wish to. Like, can you imagine how much money we would have? Jesus.
God, it'd be great.
Holy shit.
It would just amazing.
I mean, I would be swimming in cash. I would have an OnlyFans. I would not be kicked out of Patreon. I would have like the biggest Twitter ever.
I would still be able to sell merch via YouTube.
I would be a progressive. I would definitely be a feminist.
I would absolutely say that equality is no longer enough.
Well, of course.
And
I would show feet. I will show feet if I get like 500,000 subs.
Only feats.
Only feats, yeah.
Elsie Serrano says, since V is the new friend, I want to be the first. Hashtag breed V in Canada. Oh, wow, that's awful. In Canada, too. Rosa does make a good point. Just become woman. It is 2023. That's true.
Yeah, but I don't think it works like that on YouTube.
I've heard a lot of bad things about the neo vagina. Okay, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Wasn't like Philosophy Tube growing in popularity after they?
I think
transition? So. Yeah. So maybe it is. Maybe Rosa has a point.
Nathan Hildeman says, one of the most ridiculous controversies with Hasbin Hotel was a bunch of no-talent artists trying to cancel a creator for taking inspiration from a friend's original art style. Do not steal TM. Oh, yes.
the AI controversy before the AI was made. Eh?
Yep. Well, it's always been around. Like, you can't do that. That's my art style. Like, I draw lines like this. Glowy says the reason Wakanda kind of makes sense is the same reason China was isolationist for a long time, was that around them was wasteland or endless grasslands. Why would you want to leave or conquer if you have everything you want and others have less? That's true. Like, at that point, you might just decide to, like, no, build a wall.
It's because your population might explode and you want to colonize stuff in order to relieve the burden of having so many people inside.
Yeah, but remember, like they're living in the modern day in like the Dark Ages. Like their population would probably be shrinking rather than exploding.
Well, that is a good point. Holy shit, I didn't think about that.
Mark Duchesne says, I guess V didn't hear about the alternate heresy, like the Dawn heresy, traitor or loyalist and vice versa. Those are kind of cute. I do like them. They're a little bit cringe, but also kind of cute.
Yep,
1C95 says, plus the Necrons would be fighting full legions. Yes, exactly. Like, they'd pop up on a planet and be like, we have awakened. And then literally 10,000 Astartes would descend on them. Like, okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Don't die too fast. Lord Commissar Spartan says, Amr Shill again, English. Guard-Bros Veil Riders has hit 18k and has about 20 days left. Arch, you should invite him onto the ArchCast. He's a pretty cool guy. Guard-Bros Veil Riders. That was the, was that the miniature thing?
Why don't you invite Pikami? I mean, she has like 2 weeks left, right?
I think Pikami's too large too, sadly.
Oh, she's going to be 0 in 2 weeks.
Well, I wouldn't mind talking to Guard-Bro person, but I have no idea how to get in contact with them. Well, V, you're the guest person, so go get Pikami, I guess.
I will try to get Pikami.
That would be funny.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
At least we could be the nice Westerners that she remembers.
Really interesting.
We would not.
Honestly, like after, well, you know, like after Pikami graduates, if she ever wants to come back on YouTube, like this could be a jump start. Because like the moment she comes here with her new identity, like people would recognize the voice.
True. Glowy says, Indians in northern forest of America were like Eskimos. They were battling elements more than each other. They still had wars, but they were less savage than the Plains Indians. Swamp Indians were aggressive as well. Seminoles were like the last wild tribe. Northern forest of America. Was this? There wasn't that far. Kind of far north, I guess. Swamp Indians. I do like that word. Gabriel Natea. Arch, ask V about the Time Lon Ilescu, former president of Romania.
Ion Ilescu. Yeah, he was the first president after communism fell and was a communist himself.
Had a campaign poster in which he was wearing a 15k Rolex, whilst the motto was "Poor but honest."
Yes. Well, I was a kid back then, so I didn't know what the fuck a Rolex was. But like, if you were a 50k Rolex at the time, that's like a $10 million watch. The equivalent for a Romanian.
It's kind of like the clip of that. It was like the president of some piece of shit South American country, Venezuela, who was having a speech and then he just takes a bite of a sandwich. Oh, everyone is starving.
I remember that. Yeah, and his country was starving. Yeah, that was funny.
And again, I understand. Like, he'd been doing it for a long time, and he'd been doing the press thing, but it was just such a fucking retarded thing. It just reaches into the desk like...
See, you think like that, but it's just like showing that you don't give a shit. It's like just displaying. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. Are you going to do the thing? You're not doing the thing. Shut the fuck up.
Yep. I have a sandwich. You don't. Like, you should eat your pet rabbit.
Either that, or you just show that the country is starving so bad that you have to eat during the press conference.
Yep.
It wasn't a sandwich. I think it was like a muffin or something. It was like a cookie.
A muffin. Mark James says, YouTube recommended the trailer for Sisu because we all know that Finnish fought the Germans in World War II. Well, they did for a little bit, sorta. Sorta. For a tiny period of time, they fought the Germans, but mostly they fought right alongside them. Oh, that's the retarded over the top one. Oh yeah, I saw a trailer for that one. It looked retarded. I didn't like it. Mark99 says, it's called the Cope V. Tim can't handle the fact he's losing out to VTubers. I was actually going to mention that. I do think there is a degree of jealousy inherent in it too. And hey, I understand. That's a human emotion. I am jealous too when I see a VTuber, literally sit there as $100 super chats come rolling in. They don't even acknowledge it. They don't bat an eyelash. It's just like, yep, it's another day at work. But
no, I get it. But like, it's so unprofessional to whine about it.
Yeah. It is. Like, you don't complain about it. Like, that's life, That's an anime titty. You're not an anime titty. Get with the program.
But it's like, again, like, what does he want? Like, everyone to panic about World War III or whatever the fuck? Like, the people shouldn't watch movies anymore. They shouldn't listen to music. They should just stay glued to Tim Pool. Like,
it would be profitable for him, though, so maybe.
It would, yeah, like, he would want that.
I wouldn't mind that either. Jack says, if they keep printing money to do a bailout, they will devalue the dollar so much it will go into free fall and it will not recover and end in a default. That's a good point, too. If they do try to bail out the banks right now with all of the billions, well, we've already got, like, what? Are we on our second or third $1 trillion omnibus spending bill now? Like, can the US dollar even withstand another one of those?
Yes, because of the petrodollar. That's why. Like, it's the only country in the world. So like the way it works is that if you want to buy oil, like not Norway, but like Romania, if they want to buy oil, they have to first get dollars, and then they exchange the dollars for oil. So basically, the reason Americans are more immune to inflation than other countries is because like everyone buys dollars from them. But if ever the petrodollar stops being a thing, like all the dollars that America printed would go back into their fucking country, and you'd have like the worst inflation in human history.
Probably. But even then, there are eventual limits to that too. Like, the US has already taken a bit of a pounding, and it's not just the US dollar also. So many other currencies are tied up to it.
Yeah, like the petrodollar is just one of them. But there's also the fiat. There's many other things. But yeah, like as you said, like currencies are tied to the dollar.
Yeah. And then there's all the rising cost of everything else. Like, money gets worth less and less, and everything else becomes worth more and more. Eventually, we'll be trading in steel coins or fucking bottle caps, unironically. It's a bright future. Moxman117B says, Shatner is still getting bedroom action. Well, he better be careful so he doesn't blow a valve. This is Rana says, hey Arch, have you seen the Imperial and Tau Empire Relations? A 140k webcomic, dub meme voiced by Kieran Barton voice acting. I have not, no. Webcomics. I used to read a lot of webcomics when I had time to do things like that.
There was like an advertisement on YouTube for like some hentai Korean webcomics. And I was like, I clicked that and I was hooked for a little bit.
The Koreans do make good hentai, I guess.
Yeah. It was very emotional, It wasn't like straight to the point. There was a story and a plot involved.
Wow.
Yeah, and the ladies were Ushikushi, not like April O'Neil.
Well, that'll be the next step. Fat black women in hentai. In Korean hentai, specifically. Emperor Cretin says, the melanin condition is called vitiligo. Michael Jackson had it, which is why he bleached his skin and became white. Was better than being spotted.
Yeah. That is correct. No, I think, hold on, that's a different condition. Right? Like, that is one you develop. Like, you're born black and then you develop it. But there's, like, the one where you're literally born without melanin.
Might be albinoism, because I know that turns you just pure white.
Yeah.
Mark the Shame says, choose one, hashtag kick V or hashtag breed kib. Why can we not have both?
Meh.
And Mr. Twisted Frenzy says, I've recently started rewatching D&D Crusader, and I swear every episode is a gem. Will you guys start up another campaign? That depends on Sargon, and whether or not he's willing to promise that there will be no further silver mines.
I don't think that Sargon is going to start a new campaign. Like, he's got a new kid now. And on top of that, like, well, I'm making 4 videos a day, a live stream, and a video game, and you probably are busy as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. It would be fun. Lord Comes a Spartan says, Zentrea uses text-to-speech, don't let your memes be dreams, become a VTuber.
That is correct.
Urashima Otaro says, Shatner is Canadian, so he can't be president. Well, can't he, though? I'm sure there's a loophole somewhere. There's a rule that says that Canadians can become presidents if. And that if is unspecified.
Is he spreading the birther conspiracy about Shatner?
Ooh, birther conspiracy. There you go. Now he can become president. Lord Comes Up Spartan says, could easily ping him on Twitter. His @ is guardtm. Twitter, though. I'll bear it in mind. Dryface says, the more I think about it, the more I find myself agreeing with Heinlein about the whole service and citizenship concept. Responsibility equals privilege. That would be nice. Question is whether or not it wouldn't go a little bit too far. The Heinleinian concept is an interesting one, but also one open for abuse.
By the way, I realized where I am just now, and I want to ask, there's a parenthesis, if there's anyone in the chat that does really good Dungeons and Dragon maps, like professionally, contact me. I may pay you. I got a job. Like Twitter, contact. Or if you draw text a lot, really good. Yeah, I would pay, yes. If you do it for free, I would select you over other people who charge money, so like take that into account as well.
Very Romanian.
I did a map of a hotel, just putting it out there. All right, sorry. I just realized I got an opportunity here.
American Outlier says, I liked him, but to complain when you literally make enough money to keep a business afloat and don't have no worries about bills like normal people. That is true as well. I mean, he does live in, like, an enormous fucking compound with, like, 7 other people who are his employees. He doesn't really need many more money. And Dryfeet says, have you seen the fan-made 40k Asteria video? I have not. I do not watch much YouTube these days.
Did they get copyright strike, or did Warhammer just stop doing that? Workshop, sorry. Did they stop copyright striking fan-made products?
I'll have a look at the Asteria one. They might have given up after all of the bad PR, and they managed to kill most of the popular ones and force a lot of them onto their animation team. So it might simply have been their tactic to, burn the ground, so to say, and gather up the ashes.
Yeah, the Emperor requires text-to-speech was on antidepressants after they found out the news.
I don't see why they quit, though. Like, they were obviously parody, but...
Oh, yeah, but, like, they were afraid. Because, like, I believe they even said, it's like, probably we're safe, but, like, we don't want the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. No, I can see it. Lucian says, been a fan since you started, I think. Cheers, Arch. From one of your Taco Monkey viewers. Found V, thanks you too. Oh, that's great to hear. Hopefully you will be able to enjoy many more years of enjoyment and content before we all get kicked off YouTube. Nathan Hildeman says, the Dora Heresy family is retold because Sanguinis becomes the champion of Slanesh. Clearly written by someone who doesn't know Warhammer. Yeah, I think Sanguinius would probably be, well, Khorne rather than Slanesh. Like, he's pretty, but he's far more bloody too. Master of 117B. Oh, yeah, go on.
FDC and Federal Reserve discuss funds to backstop deposit if more banks fail to Silicon Valley Bank's collapse.
Well, so at least people might have a chance to get their money back.
The SVB collapse has been devastating in more ways than one. They supported women, minorities, and LGBTQ community more than any other city bank. This includes not just diverse events, but actual funding. SVP helped us move one step forward. Without them, we moved 2 steps back.
Well, it's only, the state's money they can burn.
Yes.
Though that is kind of funny, though. So the banks have taken away your money because they fucked up, and now you are going to get your money that you put in the bank back because the government, who take your taxes, are going to give you your money back. It sounds like you're still losing, but oh well.
Can't stop winning, says Biden.
It's something, isn't it?
It's Brandon economics.
It's circular, where the only loser is you. Marksman of 117B says, Tim's issue is everyone should watch politics. Now, I do actually agree, because if we live in a democracy, everyone should engage with the politics of the day to some extent. Yeah, but not necessarily to watch, 5 Tim Pool videos a day.
Yeah, but like most people do watch politics when it's an election year or when you have like a pandemic that locks you in your house or some shit. But like most of the time, people want to watch entertainment, and watching entertainment is good for the economy.
Yes, you gotta set aside a little time for entertainment too, occasionally. Why Atan says SJWs are like Tyranids. Yes, they are. They are the feminids. They devour everything and leave behind nothing but biological diversity in the form of monsters. And Dreyfy says, Arch, are you also doing Rumble streams now? I'll try and get the goddamn Rumble thing set up soon-ish, because I've been waiting to pawn that off on someone, frankly, because it's annoying.
Oh my god, will we be able to use big boy words on Rumble?
No, because we'll still be streaming to YouTube as well. You must still speak the child tongue that has been taught to you.
Child tongue?
One must be careful of what one speaks. One must guard one's mouth carefully, lest one not have one anymore. Right. Well, that is all of the super chats. So, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for your super generous donations, and hopefully we'll see you guys again next week.
And if you can put my Twitter so that people who want to make a map for my horror game. It's not Dungeons and Dragons, by the way. It's just like a map for a video game. And I need that.
Send me your Twitter and I'll put it in the description.
Yeah. It's Lovecraftian.
I should also remember to actually use the raid feature on occasion.
Hold on, I fucked it up. There we go. Oops. Fucked it up again. Jeez. Yeah.
We haven't raided Rosa in ages, and we'll raid it Rosa today.
Jesus. Like, she usually has, 20 subs? Like, if she gets 200, she's going to freak out.
And I'll be doing some Anno over on Kibs' stream as well, so you'll have options, and options are good.
I was going to live stream, but now I'm giving up, too much competition.
You must grow harder, stronger, faster, better.
You know, I actually limited my growth because, there was a time when almost every fucking streamer was getting zooked, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to be over the radar. I'm going to start deleting my streams. I'm going to start streaming at irregular hours. I will do my best in order to ostracize my community, and I went from 600 viewers to 200.
That was quite the chess move, V.
It was like 5D chess, and YouTube didn't expect that. They don't expect creators to try to grow downwards.
Well, chat, that'll be the final word of wisdom for today, I guess. Have a good day.
Oh, by the way, I spoke with my manager before we end up. The guy that's trying to, grow my channel.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, did you make any shorts? How are the shorts going? Did you try to make more? You need to make more shorts. You got to make more shorts. And then he was like, have you considered gating your content for members, members only content, and they get to see it faster, because then they will subscribe to membership out of fear of losing out. I'm like, dude, you're on my secondary channel. I have like less than 100,000 subs. Like, who the fuck would be afraid of missing out on my content? Like, I get like 10,000 per video. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Not to mention, like, what you're telling me is ugly. Like, I don't want to do that.
You're being a
Like,
negative influence.
you know what? Like, I'm actually waiting for him to call me a suppressive person.
You're being a negative influence, and you need to go to bed now before you have any other bad ideas. Bad V, bad.